Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Hinata is married and pregnant with Naruto's child during Chunin exam part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. As Hinata sat in the carriage, she cried as she held onto her pregnant stomach. All she could think about was that she was finally with Naruto and they were planning a life together. After the war, he searched for Hinata and confessed that he felt the same as her and finally asked her out on a proper date. She eagerly accepted and thought about nothing but the date all day, waiting patiently to be with her true love. That evening the both of them talked about how they felt. They laughed at the things that happened when they were children. That same night they shared their first kiss. Many in the village smiled at the two lovebirds as they spent almost night and day together. For months their relationship flourished to something neither one of them expected. They became soulmates. Naruto asked for Hinata hand in marriage, and the Hyugas told Naruto they would give him an answer in a couple of weeks. Hinata and Naruto just knew that the elders of the clan would agree, since he would be the next Hokage and that he was a war hero of their village. For 2 months the clan elders would not respond to Naruto's request. Hinata and Naruto began to hear rumors about they were not going to allow them to engage in holy matrimony. Fearing this, they wed in secret and eventually told the clan elders, the elders and her father. All were furious on what was told to them and tried to get the marriage annulled. Hinata told them she was also pregnant and that she did not care if she was no longer the heiress of her clan. The elders informed Hinata that she was to wed another man from the land of stone to strengthen the bonds between the two countries and that she would have to be with the man they betrothed her to and she would have to abort her unborn child. Naruto and Hinata were outraged that her clan and father would do such a thing to the both of them. Hiashi had asked Tsunade to put a restraining order against Naruto, stating that Hinata was doing this for the good of the village. Tsunade had no choice but to comply with the order to keep Naruto away. Hiashi had told Tsunade to perform an abortion on Hinata so she could go through with the engagement to her betrothed from the land of stone. Tsunade said that she would have no part of it and that Hinata would have to go somewhere else for the procedure to be done. Even Sakura and Shizune refused to have anything to do with aborting her and Naruto's child. Don't worry Hyuga-sama, this will be over when you terminate the pregnancy and you can wed Jidal Shiva and you can bring a thriving economic business back to our village, said one of her clansmen. Is it customary to have so many Chunins and Jonins escort me to the Cloud Village to help me abort Naruto's child? As she stared out the window praying that her clan would change their minds. The future Hokage hasn't been seen in 2 weeks, so they figured that he may try something. Better safe than sorry, said the other Hyuga clansman. I don't think he will try anything, he will be the Hokage next month. Tsunade made it official 2 days ago. No one knows that Hinata and Naruto were married and expecting a child, but a select few. So don't worry Hinata-sama, it will be like a new life for you, as he smiled at the heiress. Whoever said I wanted a new life? I'm happy with the one I chose and the man I planned on spending it with, as her eyes showed anger at the two Chunins. As they rode the carriage to Hinata's destination, it came to a complete stop. As the bodyguards looked at each other, they knew it was an ambush. As the two Hyugas hurried to get out of the carriage, they were attacked by Hinata, who sealed their chakra. As Hinata got out of the carriage, she saw all the bodies knock out from their injuries. As she looked around, she saw a tall blonde-haired young man holding a passed-out Chunin by one hand in the air. She quickly rushed to his side, crying with her arm extended, waiting for him to embrace her. He quickly threw down the Chunin and ran straight toward the indigo hair goddess who stole in his heart. I knew you would come, I knew that hell or high water would never stop you from coming to get me and our child, as she cried harder than she ever had in her whole life. You're my precious wife and mother of my child, I'll die before I see them take what's precious from us in this world, as he held onto her tight. She kissed the man of her dreams and was ready to part her village and never look back. As she saw him make a hand sign, his clones appeared. They quickly tied up all of the Jonins and Chunins so they could make their escape. I have everything set up, I liquidated all my assets, and we have enough money to live in peace for the rest of our lives. We will move to the land of snow. The princess sold me some land high in the hills where we can go unnoticed. The scenery is beautiful beyond words, Hinata, but I must ask you this, is this what you truly want? We both will be labeled missing ninjas and probably have a cash bounty put on our heads. I'll protect you with my life and make sure no one ever comes near us. But the decisions is yours to make if you want a life with me. As Naruto looked at his wife, hoping she would come with him. My life was always to be by your side, nothing changed and nothing will ever change that. You are my future, we are Uzumakis as of this day, as Hinata placed a kiss on his lips to let him know that fate itself couldn't rip them apart. As they headed north to their destination, Naruto carried her on his back to make sure that her journey would not be too strenuous for her and the baby. As they traveled for about 15 minutes, Naruto saw 4 familiar faces ahead of the road. Well, what do you know, he was that dumb to attack our fellow ninjas. Naruto, I suggest you hand over Hinata and come back to the village peacefully. Tsunade may have mercy and forgive your little transgression for attacking the Chunins and Jonins of the village. As Sakura put on her gloves hoping it wouldn't come down to an actual fight. Shouldn't you be enjoying being on your knees with your precious Uchiha, Sakura? I'm only going to say this once, let me pass, and I won't kill all four of you. Naruto pulled out his kunai and waited for their answer. Shit, he's serious, the look in his eyes there filled with love for Hinata and his unborn child. He's willing to take on all of us so they can be together, thought Shikamaru. Are you crazy, Naruto? You're supposed to be the Hokage in a couple of weeks and you pull this shit? Yelled Ino, who pulled out her kunai to match his. Yeah, Naruto, it's been your dream since you could talk, it's what you worked so hard for to achieve, said Choji as he got into his battle stance. It means less than nothing if Hinata isn't by my side to share my dream, last chance move or be moved, the choice is yours. He put Hinata behind him and got ready for a fight among friends. You were always the fool, Naruto, you never thought things through and always paid the price later on. You brought this on yourself, as Sakura sounded ice cold toward her friend with even more venom than she ever sprouted at him in life. With the quickness, Naruto had a Rasengan in the palm of his hand and rushed toward Sakura in a blink of an eye. Before she could react, he planted a full Rasengan in her chest, knocking her into the ground, making a deep crater. Shit, I was hoping to talk him down and have him give Hinata back peacefully, but he isn't going to listen. More than that, he used a deadly attack on Sakura, did he mean to kill her? Thought Shikamaru as he stretched his shadow, but Naruto dodged it completely. As Sakura lay in a crater, he quickly rushed Choji to take him down. Choji used his family bloodline and expanded his hands and arms to catch Naruto in his grasp. As he clamped his hands together, Naruto slipped through his grasp and used his kunai to cut a deep slash in Choji's collarbone, making him scream in pain as a stream of blood spurted from his shoulder. As Choji fell down, he instinctively tried to cover his wound with his hands. Naruto quickly grabbed another kunai and stabbed Choji in the other shoulder, making him scream in more pain. Choji! As both Ino and Shikamaru yelled at the top of their lungs. Ino quickly rushed and grabbed Hinata around her neck and told Naruto to stop his murderous rage and to drop his kunai. I never thought that you of all people would use a pregnant friend to save your own life, as Naruto walked nonchalantly toward Ino. Wait, why is he walking slowly toward her? He moved with blinding speed on everyone else but not Ino. Shit. Ino, quickly get away from Hinata, it's a trap. That's not Hinata, but an exploding shadow clone. As Shikamaru yelled at the top of his lungs. Naruto quickly made a hand sign, and Hinata exploded with such a tremendous force, almost crippling the blonde woman. Naruto, it doesn't have to be this way, stand down or I will be forced to kill you. Shikamaru braced himself for the fight of his life. Shikamaru pulled out a set of kunes, he waited for his blonde friend to make a move. Naruto knew Shikamaru's capabilities better than anyone else, that's why he saved him for last. If anyone could defeat him, it would be the laziest ninja in the Konoha who could do it. As Naruto moved at a blinding speed, Shikamaru swung his kunes hoping to back off the blonde speedster. As their kunes smashed together, hurting both of their hands, Naruto tried to place a kick in the sternum of his friend. Shikamaru quickly evaded and tried to ram his kunai into Naruto's leg. Naruto quickly dodged his attack and jumped back to escape his blade. As Naruto jumped back, he threw a smoke bomb directly at his adversary. Shikamaru jumped back and noticed that Naruto and a shadow clone was charging toward him, and both had Rasengans in the palm of their hands. Shikamaru quickly extended his shadows and caught both of them and destroyed one. Shikamaru noticed that he caught the real Naruto and held him. What are you planning, Naruto? You should have known that my shadows would have detained you, so why did you try a frontal attack? As Shikamaru looked at the captured Naruto. You're just way better than me, that's all. Shikamaru, this will end badly for you, you know that, right? Why won't you let me be with a woman I love? I'm only going to say this once, let me go, and I won't have to hurt you, old friend. Naruto looked at Shikamaru with intensity that unnerved the lazy jonin. You're caught, so how are you going to kill me, old friend? Naruto smiled as he was trapped in Shikamaru's shadow possession. Hey Shikamaru. Called a shadow clone from the darkness as he threw kunai at him. Shikamaru ducked the kunai, breaking the jutsu. The clone threw another kunai toward Naruto, with his speed got behind Shikamaru and placed his arm around his neck and caught the kunai coming toward Shikamaru's head and stabbed Shikamaru on the right side of his body. Shikamaru looked behind him, stunned that his closest friend tried to take his life. Naruto dropped Shikamaru on the ground. As he turned around, he saw a battered Sakura barely able to stand with a dislocated arm. She pulled out a kunai that shook uncontrollably in her hand. You bastard, you tried to kill us all. I'll kill you for what you did to our comrades, to me. You were our friend and you betrayed us and your village for a failure of a Hyuga. Sakura was ready to attack her former teammate and bring him down hard. You are my friend, that is why I didn't kill you. Instead of making empty threats you can't keep, you should worry more about our comrades. I'm going to give you a message to take back to the village, the Hyugas, the village elders and the Hokage, that if they send anyone after us I will kill them all. I won't negotiate, I won't hesitate, I will do exactly what I said I would do and send them back in small pieces that won't even fit in a casket. As Naruto looked at Sakura, she saw Hinata come out of hiding to stand next to her husband. We will not let the village politics keep us apart any longer, I stand next to him now and forever. Please Sakura make sure that the village and its council know that we will do what we must to stay together, as she held onto her husband's hand. They're both dead, once you leave the fire country they will never stop coming for the both of you. Sakura looked at the both of them as she planned to attack one more time. But you want your comrades to die. If you fight me who will be able to heal the three of them? Both Shikamaru and Choji will bleed to death and I really don't know how bad Ino's injuries are. So I suggest you let us pass and tend to their needs. Naruto pulled out a kunai and pointed it at his former teammate face and waited for her answer. Sakura knew that Naruto was right, she let them pass and went to attend to her fallen friends. As she watched them run away, she knew that Naruto would kill to protect his wife and unborn child. As she healed Shikamaru, some of the Jonins that were left at the carriage a mile down came and assisted Sakura. I see why they wanted him to be the Hokage, he defeated us without even trying. I think he was trying to make a point, no matter how many we send against him or how strong, he can defeat us. As the Hyuga Chunin went and helped patch up Choji while Sakura worked on Shikamaru. For the first time in her life she felt fear from Naruto and pity for those who would try to bring him or Hinata back to the Konoha. It meant death by a man in love that would protect his family at all cost. As the Chunins rushed Choji, Ino and Shikamaru inside the hospital, many were shocked to see three Jonins injured severely. As Tsunade rushed to see her injured ninjas, she saw a battered and bruised Sakura. She rushed over to her former apprentice to find out what happened. Sakura, did Naruto do this? Asked a very curious Tsunade. Yes, and he didn't hold back, the Chunins radioed us ahead so we could stop him from taking Hinata. We tried to stop him, but he was more powerful than I thought possible, as Sakura held her swollen dislocated arm. Shit, I thought Naruto would have accepted Hinata's clan duties and his as well, I should have known better. She was his first love and vice versa. I was against a Hyuga clan aborting Hinata's baby, but I couldn't get involved in clan affairs. I tried to talk to them about the situation at hand, but they took it pretty hard. Naruto left and threatened the whole Hyuga clan and told Hiashi if he goes through with trying to annul their marriage, he would put him in a body cast. Hiashi and his clan filed an injunction on Naruto from coming onto Hyuga property. Naruto made a threat against the whole council that if they go through with annulling his marriage, that it would be hell to pay. The council knew that Naruto held great respect from the 5 great countries. They asked me to step down voluntarily to appease him and make him think about the village's welfare. I guess that plan didn't work, it only pissed him off more as Tsunade took a look at Sakura's arm and set it back into place and healed it at the same time for her. Tsunade, their injuries aren't life-threatening, he made sure not to hit any major arteries or major organs. They will make a full recovery, but their pride will be shot for a while, as Shizune looked at the both of them. Call all the clans and village elders for an emergency meeting. We have to report this to everyone that we have 2 missing nins by the name of Naruto and Hinata Uzumaki as Tsunade walked toward the door. Wait, what are you going to do? As Shizune looked at Tsunade. As Tsunade turned toward Sakura and Shizune, she had tears in her eyes, something Shizune rarely seen from the Hokage. What the Hokage must do was her only reply. As Naruto carried Hinata on his back to the nearest village known as Carrion, the vilest place in the north, she was still fast asleep on his back. Naruto knew that his wife had a strenuous night and the attack on them by their friends really did a number on her. As Naruto walked down the dark dirt road, he was approached by 3 well-armed thieves. As they blocked his way, they looked at Hinata. Let us help you with that fine-looking piece you got on your back, said one of the tall thieves with 2 swords on his back. Yeah, she's too much woman for you to handle alone, give her to us and we will not have to slice both of you up. If you don't, we kill you and still have fun with your woman, said the other thief as he pulled out 2 knives. Shhh, quiet, if you wake my wife there will be hell to pay, as he positioned Hinata further up his back. This idiot must be crazy. Do you really think you can take on the dark angels of Carrion and live, said the other thief who pulled out a small sword. As they rushed at Naruto, he stood still and never moved when suddenly 2 kunai struck the thief with the small sword and also struck the thief with the knives in the chest, killing them instantly. You didn't even move, how did you take them out, yelled the thief with the 2 swords. Shadow clones of mine are hiding in the darkness, now are you going to move so I can head to my destination, asked Naruto. I don't care if you are a ninja, you're dead, as he pulled out both of his swords from his back and charged at Naruto while he still had a sleeping Hinata on his back. Naruto sidestepped at the last possible moment as his adversary came with a vertical slice to kill him and Hinata. Naruto with a swiftness pulled out his kunai and stuck his foe in the neck. As the thief dropped his weapons, he looked directly at Naruto as he gurgled on his own blood. Not possible, what type ninja are you? Wait, can't be Yunar, why come here, as his body hit the ground with a thump. Naruto pulled the kunais out of his victims' bodies so there would be no evidence of a ninja weapons or that a ninja killed them. He knew that this part of the village despised ninjas and would attack him for being one. Naruto decided to keep heading to one of his old contacts' hideout that helped him during the war. She was a high-ranking healer and forger. She was considered the best when ninjas wanted to disappear without a trace. Naruto had set up an appointment to meet with her 2 weeks ago so Hinata and he could get away from their former village. As Naruto walked into the village he searched for Harumi's hideout. As he walked down the bad part of the village he recognized the house. As he approached the hideout he gave the secret knock in the code word. As the door opened 2 large 6'5", 380-pound bodyguards looked at Naruto and the small pregnant woman on his back sleep. "She's been waiting for you, head to the back, your room is ready so she can rest. Harumi will be in there shortly to see you," said the large bodyguard. Naruto headed to the back room with his wife and said nothing as he gave a deathly presence about himself. He left the giant bodyguards quivering with uneasiness. "Damn, did you see his eyes? He wasn't even scared of us even a little. Watch what you say, he may not be as big as us, but his aura is death-like frightening." As the large bodyguard watched him go to the back and close the door. As Naruto laid down Hinata he gently stroked her hair and kissed her on her forehead. She was the only one that could turn a ferocious Naruto into a gentle lamb. "I love you with all my heart," Hinata Uzumaki as he whispered those words in her ear as she smiled in her sleep. As there was a knock on the door, a small elderly-looking woman came through the door. As she watched the strongest ninja in recorded history being as gentle as a lamb to his wife, she couldn't help but smile. "You were right, she is beautiful. I see why you would risk everything to be by her side, but I must ask you, are you certain that you want to make these changes in your life? Once you do this, there is no going back." As Harumi saw her friend leave his wife's side. "You've known me for years, what do you think?" "I was afraid you were going to say that. What do you need me to do?" asked Harumi. "Can you remove these whisker marks off my face? Plus, do you have that special dye that I asked you to get?" As Naruto sat in the chair where Hinata was laying next to the bed. "I can remove them, but it will be awfully painful, and I got the 2 special dyes that you asked for. Here, let me put you to sleep so that you won't be in that much pain. Usually I only remove tattoos or scars off the body. I never removed a birthmark before, especially on the face." As she approached Naruto as he sat on the chair. "No, I want to be conscious when you perform this operation." As Naruto braced himself. As she looked at Naruto, she told him to lean his head back. As she focused her chakra into her hand she placed them onto Naruto's face. Naruto was in excruciating pain as he muffled his screams with all of his strength so he wouldn't wake Hinata. Harumi couldn't believe that Naruto could absorb such unbearable pain. As she removed her hands off his face he breathed a sigh of relief. She looked at Naruto and gave him a mirror to show her artistic healing talents. "I always wondered what I would look like without these whisker birthmarks, now I kind of miss them." As he examined his face with great care. "Do you think your wife will like the change in your appearance?" "I don't know, but I hope so. Could you please leave me, I'm going to use the dye you bought me." As Naruto staggered out of the chair. "By the way, you're a war hero just as I am. What made you move to the most dangerous place in all the north?" asked Naruto. "Well, I came back and there were many changes in my country. The first were new politicians that wanted the old out. Since I'm the old I had to go. Since I was a great forger, I put my talents to helping people like you and some unsavory ones as well. If I stayed in the good part of the village I wouldn't be able to make money since the good part of the village wouldn't need my services." As she smiled at Naruto. "I guess you're right." As he looked out the window to see a group of men beating on one man that was unarmed. "Okay, tomorrow I'll have your forged IDs so you and your wife can make it to the land of Spring, formerly the land of snow. When she wakes up make sure she use that dye so you can leave in the morning. I'm pretty sure it's going to take them about 4 days to issue a missing nin report for your capture." As Harumi headed to the door to leave. As Naruto went into the bathroom, he quickly placed the dye in his hair and went back to the room with Hinata. As he sat down in the chair, he formed a shadow clone to watch the door. He smiled at his wife and quietly fell asleep in the chair. As the elders of the village and all of the head clansmen of the village wondered what the emergency meeting was about, they all quickly took their seats so the meeting could begin. As Tsunade walked through the meeting hall, all eyes were on her as she took the podium to explain about Hinata and Naruto. As she went over every detail about what Naruto had done, many were stunned that their future Hokage had done those things their present Hokage was telling them. What shocked them more was that she asked that Naruto be pardoned and that he and Hinata stay married. As there were many people in the auditorium discussing it with each other, a couple of elders and esteemed clansmen wanted to take the podium to discuss what they were told. "How much income will the village lose if we allow them to stay married?" asked a member of the Sarutobi clan. "Over 460 million." As Hiashi stood up and gave the answer. That seemed to rile up the crowd into a fury on the income they would lose. "What about the treaty that was signed last year, will they still accept the terms of the agreement?" asked a clan member of the Aburum. "They may try to use this to break our agreement." As Hiashi beat Tsunade to the punch before she could answer the question. There was so much noise in the room that order couldn't be restored for 5 minutes. Everyone knew that the treaty would let past crimes from both villages be pardoned, and there would no reprisal for revenge or blood feud. Many started to look at the elders for answers, so when Koharu stood up all eyes were locked onto her. There is only one thing to do, Hinata is going into her 3rd month right now. We need to catch her within the week and return her here to the village where Tsunade will perform the surgical procedure as Koharu looked in her direction. You mean abortion? Call it what it is, yelled Tsunade. Many elders and clan leaders thought that Naruto should stay married to Hinata, while most thought the opposite. Naruto will never let Hinata or their baby be harmed for politics, he's not just going to roll over for anyone, said the clan elder of the Nara. That's why if we don't get Hinata back within the week, I suggest we send an assassin to kill Naruto if he doesn't comply with our demands. If we succeed on killing Naruto then we won't have to worry about anything, the leaf will prosper like never before, as Koharu addressed every one of the elders' plans. There is no one who would even think about taking on Naruto, especially if they find out who their target is. You're talking about a boy that defeated Pain at age 16, and 7 months down the line he defeated both the Uchihas in the war. Who are you planning on sending after Naruto, asked Chaozu. 2 Sharingan users, Kakashi Haddock and Sasuke Uchiha, they will bring back the body of Naruto Uzumaki and return the heiress to the village, as Koharu finished her argument for the retrieval of the missing nins. Wait, you can't do this. Naruto is a war hero, a living legend of the village, this is ludicrous, only I can put Naruto in the bingo book, as Tsunade yelled at the top of her voice. We know of your personal feelings for Naruto, so this must be done by a unanimous vote among the clan's head and elders, you can vote as well Tsunade if you like. There are 18 of us, so the majority decides if he stays married or we return Hinata back to the village with a bounty on his head, as Koharu told everyone to prepare to vote. As each was given a white piece of paper to vote with, they were asked to either vote for Naruto and Hinata to stay married or to label them as missing nins, and they would send out the nin hunters for them. As everyone had a look of disgust and nervousness about deciding the 2 young lovers' fate, they went and voted in private, so no one could see what decision they chosen. As they all voted they took their seats back in the stadium, as Tsunade and Koharu came and tallied the vote, it was against Naruto and Hinata being married 10-8. Tsunade could barely control her emotion as the verdict was read, as one of the Akimichi clansmen stood up, all eyes were on him. We make this one request, since Naruto is a war hero of this village, we ask that he be approached in a diplomatic way. That he agrees to our terms, then he can return unharmed and be pardoned for his desertion of the village. Everyone here knows that what he's going through is a burden none of us would want to bear, said the large Akimichi Jonin. Many agreed on what he said and decided to make it official. Koharu nodded in agreement and left the meeting hall with Tsunade and Homura. As they made it to her office, there stood Kakashi and Sasuke waiting patiently for their return. As they waited for their brief on their mission, they could tell something terrible was about to happen. As Homura brushed against Sasuke, he felt something go into his pocket but didn't say anything and decided to wait till after the meeting to see what was put in his pocket. As Tsunade gave the 2 of them the mission to bring back Naruto and Hinata, they were told to bring them back to the village by force and tied up if they had to. Koharu asked that they take along Sakura so Naruto would be less violent and a little more understanding. As Kakashi and Sasuke left the office, both went home to prepare for their assignment. As Sasuke went in his pocket to see what the old man put there, he read the note that told him to meet in secrecy at Training Ground 2. As he headed toward that destination, he wondered just what this secrecy was all about. As he arrived, he saw Sakura sitting on a tree stump looking battered and bruised. Sasuke, what are you doing here? I was told by the elders to meet them here, what about you? As she looked at Sasuke and still got butterflies when he looked her way. Same here, as his words was as cold as ever to the pink-haired Kunoichi. We called you here because we have a secondary mission for the both of you, as Homura stepped out of the dark. What's that? asked Sasuke as he stared at the 2 with hatred in his eyes. Simple, kill Naruto and bring back the Hyuga heiress unharmed, that is your mission, Sasuke, said Homura. Sakura, your mission is to abort the baby right there on the spot, make sure that the demon's wife survives the ordeal, said Koharu. What? I can't do that to Hinata, she's a friend of mine, and so is Naruto. I can't be part of this evil scheme, find another patsy to do your evil biting. As Sakura started to walk away, then she noticed that Sasuke stayed behind. Sasuke, you can't be seriously thinking about going along with their plans. You bastard. It was Naruto that risked all to save you, and now you want to betray him like this. Shut up, woman, yelled Homura. When we were taking Hinata to have her baby aborted, you didn't see anything wrong with it, but now since you have to perform the procedure, you all of a sudden grew immoral conscious. You are a Kunoichi, simple and plain, your village needs you. Sasuke, incapacitate Kakashi long enough for her to perform the procedure, make sure that Naruto dies. We need for the village to prosper for years to come. If they find out we tried to kill a war hero and the son of the 4th Hokage, it would destroy our reputation for centuries. You 2 have your mission assignments, failure is not an option. As Homura turned and walked away from the 2. I refuse to do this. As Sakura looked at Sasuke. You don't have a choice, we were giving a mission and we must accept it. We're ninjas and we follow the rules just like my brother done when he was part of this village, as Sasuke started to walk away from Sakura. You remember what Kakashi-sensei said, those who break the rules are trash, those who abandon their friends are worse than trash. Sasuke looked at Sakura and turned away to head home to prepare for his mission. Sakura couldn't believe that after all that Naruto did for Sasuke he was going to betray him once again. When Sasuke returned home she rushed to be by his side and gave him everything, even her virginity willingly. As they were together for about a month she noticed that he became distant and cold toward her. When she mentioned marriage to him, Sasuke's exact words were, "I'm happy by myself, so why would I complicate my life for you?" Those words destroyed her that day, but she continued to be supportive and still continued to be the woman he needed in his life, with no questions asked. Now she had a dilemma, save Naruto or stand with Sasuke. Even though Naruto attacked her to get Hinata to safety, Sakura had no grudge against the attack at all. She knew that she would do the same to keep Sasuke safe from all harm. She knew that Naruto didn't put any hatred or killing intent in it, or otherwise she would be dead. As she walked home to get her supplies for the mission, she prepared for her journey to either bring back her friend or kill him. As Hinata woke up she saw a strange red-haired man lying next to her in a chair. She quickly jumped up and was ready to strike him until she noticed his features. It was Naruto. She quickly woke him up to ask what he did to himself because she noticed the whiskers were gone too. As she lightly woke him up, he smiled at his wife at that being the first person he saw in the morning. "Naruto, you look like another person, why did you remove your whiskers and why the red hair and you cut your long blonde hair off too?" asked a very shocked Hinata. "The other way I look someone would definitely recognize me, so I took off the whiskers, and for the hair well my mom had red hair, so I thought why not, so I changed my hair color to that of my mother's," as Naruto stretched and placed a kiss on his wife's lips. "Speaking of which, I'm afraid you're going to have to make a change also. How do you feel like becoming a blonde?" as Naruto smiled at Hinata. Hinata looked over and saw a hair dye bottle with some Suna clothes next to it and looked at Naruto with a smile. "Sure, I heard blondes have more fun," as she grabbed all the items and went inside the bathroom to freshen up and assume her new identity. As Harumi knocked on the door, Naruto let her in. "Here is your new identity. I tried to give you names that suit the both of you. Here are the tickets for the carriage that leave in about 3 hours, and here is the ticket for the boat ride to get you to the land of spring, formerly the land of snow, to safety. I suggest you tell your wife to make haste so you can go to town and eat before your long journey. Oh, and by the way, there is a rumor going around that 3 high-ranking gang members were killed last night. I hope that wasn't you, Naruto. If it was you, you need to be more inconspicuous about the things you do, and please tell your wife the same thing or otherwise all of this will be a waste of time," as Harumi walked out of the room. Naruto looked at the IDs and smiled. It seemed he was relatively amused by the names she came up with. As an hour passed, Hinata came out of the room with a towel around her head. As she removed it, her hair was as golden as Naruto's used to be, and she had a smile like she was going to enjoy being a blonde. Naruto loved the way she looked, but he preferred her as a dark-haired woman better, but he had to admit she looked like a sultry temptress with that blonde hair. As they both changed into their Suna clothes, Naruto noticed that Hinata was looking sad. He sat next to her and looked her in the eyes. "Hinata, I'm so sorry. I thought that I would succeed on being a great husband to you, but I failed. You an heiress of the Hyugas, that's almost like royalty, is here in Carrion, the worst village in history filled with drugs, murderers, rapists and prostitution, sitting next to a failure of a husband. When we leave here I swear to you we will only have happy days to come," as his eyes went directly down to the floor. Hinata took her hand and raised his head. "You're my dream, Naruto. I would rather die than have some other man touch my body and call me his wife. If you didn't show up I was going to make an escape myself, so you don't ever have to worry about me not being by your side. I'm Hinata Uzumaki, or did you forget?" as she placed a passionate kiss on his lips. As Naruto returned the kiss he remembered the IDs and handed Hinata hers. "So I'm called Hitomi, pupil of the eye, Ig, protector, a reign of peace, Hitomi Ig. Who gave me this name?" asked Hinata. "I'm called Noriyuki, law and happiness, Ig, and it was Harumi. Guess she felt like giving us some hidden message in our names," as he smiled at Hinata. As they prepared to leave, Hinata went and thanked Harumi for everything she did for them. Harumi nodded and told them to be very careful about traveling around this part of the country. She told them that once they make it to the land of spring, disappear and live life like a civilian. As they said their goodbyes, Naruto and Hinata headed to the outskirt of the village to catch the next carriage to the shipping docks. As they walked to their destination, they noticed that the buildings were run down or close to being condemned with many families living in them. They noticed that most gangs stood on the corners but didn't bother anyone, but was looking out for addicts to make some money or searching for someone who might try and take their product away by force from them. Hinata remembered reading about the living condition in Carrion village. They said that most children died by the time they hit 11 years old. As she watched some children playing in a hole filled with water, she saw the sadness in their faces as they tried their best to have fun. Hinata quickly placed her hand on her stomach and shed a tear for the children of the village. Remember Hinata, we have to be unseen by everyone, so try to blend in with the locals, as Naruto continued to hold her hand. As she nodded in agreement as they approached their destination. Naruto took Hinata to a small outdoor restaurant so she wouldn't be hungry on the trip since they still had a little time before they departed the village. As Naruto left to go get some supplies, he told Hinata he would be right back and to order some food to take on the carriage for their journey. As Hinata sat down and ate her food, she watched as everyone seemed to be in despair over how their village had become. As she heard some shouting taking place behind her, she turned to see what the commotion was about. She saw a large group of men smacking a young child around, he looked to be around 8 years old, and he was screaming at the men to forgive him. Please, I'm sorry, don't kill me, I just wanted to feed my baby sister, she's starving, that's the only reason I tried to pick your pocket. I swear I'll never come around you again, begged the little boy. Little sister, eh? As he saw who the little boy was talking about, he smiled at the little girl. We can sell her and make a nice profit, go get her, and I'll take care of this thieving child, as he pulled out his sword. As he came down with his sword, he was hoping to cut the boy in two when suddenly his wrist was stopped by Hinata, who gave him a death glare. Oh, what do we have here, a heroine trying to protect some street trash? It seems you're too beautiful to be here from this village. But that's okay since you got involved. Do you intend to pay for his mistakes, asked the large man with a patch over his eye. How much did he try to steal from you, and I'll pay, just leave the children alone, as Hinata released his wrist. $4, said the man with the patch. You were going to kill him over $4. Fine, as soon as my husband gets back I will give you double the money, just go away and leave them in peace, said Hinata. No, I changed my mind, I want what's between your legs. Only then will we call it even, as he licked his lips at Hinata. I suggest you take the money and be on your way, as Hinata walked over and picked up the little girl from one of the outlaws and walked over to the little boy and handed him his sister. You got guts, but I like a woman that puts up a fight anyway, men, grab that bitch and bring her and the little girl back to my base, as he turned and looked at her. Hinata didn't activate her Byakugan, but she counted 8 gang members that tried to surround her. She quickly attacked the one in front of her by concentrating her chakra into her hands and crushed his ribcage with tremendous force, causing him to spit up blood and leaving him incapacitated on the ground. She quickly roundhouse kicked 3 gang members that charged, knocking them to the ground and knocked out cold. As 2 rush her from her right and her left, she quickly ducked and forced chakra into her hands and punched both her foes in their balls, making them scream in agony as they thought she literally burst their most prized possession on their body. As the other 3 looked in horror on what she did, they took off running away from her. Well, the little bitch knows how to fight. Well, since you want to be the heroine so bad in this story, I guess it's time for you to meet the villain. As he pulled out a long sword and pointed it at Hinata, Hinata remained calm and waited for him to make a move. As soon as he was going to attack, Naruto placed a dull knife around his neck. I know you're not trying to hurt my wife, or you, said Naruto, as he said it in a cool and collective manner. The man with the patch dropped his sword. Naruto looked at all the carnage his small pregnant wife done in a short amount of time. He was gone. He looked at Hinata, who nonchalantly shrugged her shoulders up as to say what. Well, we have quite the predicament here, should I kill you or should I let you go, as Naruto pressed the dull knife against his wife attacker. Let me go, let me go, let me go, as he kept repeating the statement over and over. Fine, I'll let you go, but if you come back with reinforcements, I'm going to kill you, simple and plain, as Naruto cut him with the dull knife on the neck. As he felt the pain and the stream of blood coming slowly down his neck, he felt Naruto let him go and received a kick in the ass by Naruto. Hinata quickly grabbed the children as all the onlookers stared in amazement on what just took place. They never known anyone who would risk their lives for some street urchins. They started to smile, then they cheered. Someone took a moral stand, something that hadn't been done in decades in the village. As Naruto looked at the time, he saw they only had another 45 minutes to go before they left the village. As they walked back to the restaurant, many patted Hinata and Naruto on the back for saving the children. As they sat down at the restaurant, Hinata told the children to order themselves something to eat. As they looked at Naruto and Hinata, they couldn't believe they were this nice. Naruto decided to order a large feast for the children, while he gave his wife an unenthusiastic look. She quickly explained the situation. As Naruto heard all of the details, he agreed that she did the right thing, but now they had unnecessary attention thrown their way. Thanks, kind lady and mister, I thought they were going to kill me and sell my sister. I owe you and my sister our lives, I swear one day I will pay you back, as the little boy ate the food with such speed that it impressed Naruto on how he didn't drop one crumb. What's your names, kid, asked Naruto. I'm Mikoto, and the little blonde girl over there is Akina. Don't ask if we have a last name, because we don't. Our parents were killed when I was 4 and Akina was 2. I heard that our last name might be Shirasachi, but it's just a rumor. You're planning on leaving this village in a little while, right? Be careful of the 2 men you're riding with, they work for Old One Eye Patch. They have this racket: if you have a lot of money they wait till you're asleep and kill you. I used to run errands for the guy, and I heard him bragging about how they killed a young couple like you. When you leave with him, ride on the top of the carriage with him because he will tell you it's safer inside. He will lock the door and use that sword of his and stab you through the carriage." As the young boy stopped eating and gave a serious look. "I see," as Naruto looked at Hinata. "Thanks for the tip. Will you two be alright from here? I'm taking Akina out of this village tonight. We are on Old One Eye's radar and that's not a good thing. Do you mind if we take the scraps since we will have a long travel ahead?" said Mikoto. "Wait, you're going to try and walk to another village? Just how old are you?" asked Hinata. "I'm 7 and Akina is 5 and we don't have a choice. If I stay I'm dead. Out there at least I have a fighting chance of survival." As he placed the scraps in a handkerchief. Naruto knew that look in Hinata's eyes. She was seriously thinking about taking the children with them. Although it crossed his mind, the children could be in more danger if they were to stay with them. Naruto remembered how it used to be when he was an orphan and how hard it was to find some food now and then. He saw Hinata open her mouth and knew what was coming out. "Would you children like to come with us?" as Hinata looked at the two. "I appreciate the offer, but we don't even know your names," said Mikoto. "I'm Hitomi and this is Noriyuki and we would love for you to join us," as Hinata gave a grand smile at the two. "I want to go with her, Mikoto, she saved us and she has a trusting face. Can we please go with them?" pleaded Akina as she gave her puppy dog eyes. Mikoto reluctantly gave in. He thanked them and told them that he would help them no matter what. Naruto paid the bill and all four headed to where the carriage was set to take them to the docks. As Naruto watched Hinata carry the little girl, he couldn't notice that being a motherly figure came natural to her. He wondered if he would have that fatherly figure look and wisdom once their child was born. As Hinata put down the little girl, she whispered in Naruto's ear. "What if he says is true about the drivers of the carriage? Do you think we should throw them off the carriage and drive it ourselves?" asked Hinata. "No, I have a plan, and if they so much as make a move against any of us, they'll receive the shock of their lives," as Naruto placed a perfect kiss on his wife's lips. Countdown. 30 hours. It had been roughly 30 hours and Kakashi, Sakura and Sasuke couldn't find any leads on the whereabouts of Naruto and Hinata. As they looked at the map once again, they looked at all of the surrounding villages that seemed like a perfect place to hide. None could agree on one of the 4 villages they thought their fugitives fled to. "Do you think Naruto and Hinata fled to the village where Gaara stays? I mean, it's the perfect place to ask for political asylum if you ask me," as Sakura looked at her former sensei and the love of her life. She wondered if she could talk Sasuke out of following the orders they were given by the elders of the village. The longer they searched for the 2 deserters, the more she realized that Naruto was doing the right thing by rescuing Hinata. "I want us to go the village of Copper. This is the perfect spot for Naruto to head to the Suna village. I'm pretty sure that the land of Wind Daimyo will accept Naruto with no questions asked. He has at least 39-hour head start, so I suggest we get moving," said Kakashi as he looked at his former students. He knew that by sending 2 of Naruto's former teammates, that it would make him sloppy and hesitant to attack them, a perfect tactic to bring down a powerful shinobi like Naruto. "No, we're going to the village of Jikeno." I believe that he's not going to the Suna village, but to the home of the Wind Daimyo. I believe that if he asks him personally for asylum, the Wind Daimyo will sanction all Konoha ninjas to keep a powerhouse like Naruto in his country. "Does think Naruto and Gaara together will make the Sand Village prosper in mission contracts alone," as Sasuke tried to take control of the leadership of the mission. He knew that Kakashi wouldn't back down from him, but he was unwilling to follow a false Uchiha. Sakura knew now that the mission was going to go downhill if she didn't keep both of their attitudes in check. She quickly grabbed the map and looked at the other 2 villages to make a compromise on the operation of their mission. As she looked at the map, she saw the other 2 villages. She questioned the 2 on the other villages. Both stopped arguing to tell Sakura about Carrion Village. They wouldn't go that way. Carrion Village is the most dangerous place in all of the North Suna. It's also the most dangerous place for ninjas to go. It's like a death sentence for a shinobi. Naruto would never risk Hinata's safety just to get away. He knows that her safety is his greatest concern, as Sasuke started to get annoyed by both of his former teammates. "I have to agree with the traitor on this one. Our best bet is to find them is in the village of Copper. I need the both of you to get your asses into gear to bring back our comrades safely to the village," as Kakashi grabbed the map and his supplies to get started back on his mission. "You go your way and I'll go mine. Come on Sakura, we have a mission to complete." Let the false eye bastard go looking in the wrong direction. I know the dumb-ass blonde better than anyone, as Sasuke spoke so loud it kind of scared Sakura. "We were sent here to be a team, we can't separate because of a disagreement. Now let's all get back to the mission at hand," as Sakura was almost pleading for cooperation from the both of them. "I said now Sakura. I'm not going to repeat myself again. Get your shit and back me up," as Sasuke anger began to rise. Kakashi removed his head protector as he was ready to activate his Sharingan to stop Sasuke if he tried to harm Sakura. Kakashi-sensei, I'm going to go with Sasuke. He knows that, let's go right now, yelled Sasuke so loud that Sakura jumped from the volume of the malice in his voice. Sakura, you don't have to leave with this traitorous scum, he's not your boyfriend, and he's definitely not your husband, as Kakashi prepared himself to do battle with his former pupil. Sakura quickly got in between the two, so there would be no blood spilled between them. I'm going to leave with him, I'll keep in contact with you, as she got her supplies and motioned for Sasuke to walk ahead. Countdown. 27 hours. As the carriage drove all four to the shipping docks on the outside of Carrion Village. Naruto sat on top of the carriage with the drivers as he watched them carefully to make sure they wouldn't try anything underhanded. The two drivers heard about him and his small but dangerous wife, they knew they had orders to kill all of them, but they were going to wait until they fell asleep. As both children sat on the opposite side of Hinata inside the carriage, they smiled at the woman who saved their lives. Would you like me to tell the future of your baby, asked Akina as she touched her stomach. This shocked Hinata because she wasn't really showing, and with the clothes she had on you couldn't tell at all. Even though this little girl was only 5 going on 6, she showed remarkable intelligence for someone her age. Akina, be quiet, shouted Makoto. What's the matter, Makoto? She's just passing the time while we're in the carriage, she can't really tell the future, as she looked at him with curiosity. She can, and I'm sorry, it's just that if someone finds out about her gifts they would try and sell her or use her gifts for their own evil purpose, as Makoto fear about his sister ability was told. She very precise on her fortune telling, but it may not be what you want to hear. She once told a lady her fortune, and it wasn't a good one. She called my sister a freak, an abomination, and she tried to beat Akina for telling her something terrible about her future, as he finished explaining it to Hinata. You really believe she can tell the future? She can, but don't be mad if it isn't something you want to hear. Akina, do your thing, as Makoto looked at his little sister as she prepared to tell Hinata the future of her unborn child. As Akina placed her hands on Hinata's pregnant belly, Akina's eyes went completely white and her features changed from a smiling child to that of a face that showed a grim facial feature that unnerved Hinata. The eldest child will have his father's determination to never give up combined with the gentleness of his mother's heart. He will be the product of their love and sacrifice that will unite the shinobi world in peace started by his father mission, a cautious tale to this child. He will be burdened with the hate and the sins of his father's best friend he deems as a brother. This child can turn the hatred of this clan with the love of another if he can overcome the darkness within their spirit. He will unite a grieving village that still have the will of fire, as Akina's eyes went back to normal and gave a solemn look on what she said. Hinata was shocked on hearing that revelation of a prophecy given. This little girl knew that she and Naruto were ninjas, and she knew of the will of fire philosophy given to the children of the village. She also stated that he was the eldest, which meant she was going to have more children, which kind of excited her. She knew that Akina really was special and that she would tell Akina to keep her ability a secret until she got old enough to protect herself. As the drivers pulled over the carriage to give the horses time enough to relax, eat and drink, the two little children eagerly got out of the carriage to stretch their legs and to relieve their bodily fluids from the long ride. As Naruto asked Hinata to come over to him because he had something for her, she eagerly came to see what he had in his hands. Dear Hinata, I need you to put these in your eyes, as he placed a box in her hand. What is it, asked a very curious Hinata as she opened the box to reveal its contents. There's something new, they're called contact lenses. I got you a shade of light green, so your true beautiful eye color won't be recognized, as he looked at his wife. So this is the supplies you went to get, how does it work, asked Hinata as she looked at the lightly colored glass lens. You put them in your eyes and they change the color of your pupils. This new product that's really designed for beauty products for geishas and actresses, as Naruto helped Hinata put them in. As he looked at his wife he saw that it made her look like someone new. As he smiled at his wife, he couldn't wait to live a life of a commoner to wake up every day to this beautiful creature that stood in front of him. So what do you think about the two drivers? Do you think they will try something once we rest for the night? Asked an inquisitive Hinata. Don't worry about it, I'll take care of our chauffeurs if they so much as look the wrong way at us. But for now we will act like everything is alright. It will be dark soon, so make sure the kid's eaten, and you too, you're now eating for two, as Naruto came and placed his hand on Hinata's stomach and smiled at his stunning looking wife. She could do nothing but blush, 22 years old, and Naruto still could make her feel like she was 12 when he was around. Do you think that they sent hunter nins after us already? Asked Hinata as she placed her hands on top of Naruto's as he continued to hold her stomach. I doubt it, they would have to go through too much paperwork and vote. Like Harumi said, it would at least take 2 to 3 days, and we will be in the land of spring by that time, as he tried to relax his wife's mind from unneeded stress. As they all sat down to eat, Naruto noticed that Hinata was staring at Akina. Naruto just figured that she wanted a little girl, that's why she was staring at her. Countdown. 23 hours. As Sakura and Sasuke had arrived in the village Akeno, they had searched the entire village and asked the ninjas of that village had they seen a blonde man and a dark-haired pregnant woman that might have come to their village. All the ninjas and everyone from that village all replied that they hadn't seen visitors matching their descriptions. As they both became frustrated over not having any clues to the two deserters, they decided to eat at local restaurant and head to the next village Naruto and Hinata might had stop at. As they sat there, they heard a loud man yelling about what he saw yesterday in the village of Carrion. As Sakura and Sasuke saw the crowd gather to hear the conversation, they waited on him to continue his story. I tell you, this little kid was getting pummeled to death by the gangsters of the village. All he was trying to do was to feed his little sister. As they beat him for only $4, the leader of the gang was going to try and sell his sister. As I watched him pull out his sword to kill the little boy, it was stopped by a blonde-haired woman. Wait, you said a blonde? Was this blonde a visitor in the village? As Sasuke got up from the table to question the man. Quiet, I'm telling you what happened. She may have been a visitor to the village, but she was as soon a citizen because of the clothes she was wearing. Now let me finish up. So she stops the gangsters from killing the boy and kidnapping the girl by defeating all 10 with the best jutsu I ever seen in my life. Then her husband shows up with red flaming hair and puts the knife to old eye patch neck and had the toughest gangster you ever met begging for his life in front of the whole village. I swear the world needs more like those two. As the villager imitated the move the young blonde woman performed on her adversaries, Sasuke quickly grabbed the villager by his collar and slammed him against the wall. The redhead man, did he have whiskers on his face? As Sasuke placed his forearm against the villager's throat. No. He didn't have any whiskers marks at all on his face. Were they ninjas? As Sasuke put more pressure on his neck. No, they were just plain ordinary villagers that did the right thing and saved some children. As the villager struggled to be released by Sasuke. Sasuke, release him, you're hurting him bad. They don't match the description, so let him go. As Sakura tried to loosen his grip around the man's neck. Remove your hand or I'll break it. As Sakura backed up in fear from Sasuke's statement. Now tell me about the woman. As he looked at the villager. She was beautiful beyond compare, she had the face of an angel, but what really stood out were those eyes of hers. They were some of the most lavender color eyes I ever seen in my life. They were hypnotic and they were filled with compassion. As the villager was now ready to pass out from the pressure around his throat. We're heading to Carrion village to get the information we need to find Naruto. It's a 4-hour trip and I don't think he's heading to the Suna. When we get to Carrion, we need to find a forger that may have gave him a false identification to cross the borders or set up a new life somewhere else. As Sasuke rushed to find transportation to take them to their destination. Sakura looked at Sasuke and couldn't believe that after everything Naruto did for him, he was willing to kill him. Naruto risked the wrath of every clansman, elder and the village itself to help his friend. It was ironic the one who would do everything to keep him safe was being betrayed by the one doing everything in his power to kill him. Sakura made a decision on what to do. A teammate would die by her hands when the time came. Countdown. 19 hours. As the carriage was parked for the night so the horses could rest, Naruto and Hinata with the children went to the river to wash up and bring back fresh water for the horses and the drivers. As they all tidy up their sleeping arrangements, they all fell asleep instantly, which surprised the drivers. Here is our chance, we will kill the husband first. I'll jump on his body and cover his mouth and you stab him in his head, then we will kill his wife, then those snot-nosed gutter trash kids. As the tall driver handed him the long knife and the other driver nodded in agreement. As they tiptoed quietly toward Naruto, their hearts were racing from being caught by the sleeping redhead. As the tall driver crept over Naruto, he pounced on him and covered his mouth. The driver with the knife quickly came down with the knife with all of his strength, stabbing Naruto in the head. Boom. As an explosion was heard from miles around. Naruto disguised his exploding shadow clone as him as he pretended to be asleep. The tall bandit that held the Naruto clone down died instantly from the blast. My hands, they're gone, my hands. As the second driver looked and saw that the explosion took his hands off with a large portion of his wrists. Nice scam you got, take the passengers to the middle of nowhere and kill them and take their valuables. I don't even feel bad for the both of you. I suggest you start running to the nearest village before you bleed to death, and by the way, I'm keeping the horse and the carriage. As Naruto pointed for the driver to get to running. As the driver staggered to his feet, he headed to the nearest village in the middle of the night, hoping he wouldn't die on this deserted road. As Naruto drove a half-mile down, he saw Hinata with the kids by a fire. He pulled the carriage to them and got out. Hey, where's Jackie and Shu? Asked Makoto. They let us have the carriage and decided to walk back to Carrion. As Naruto took a seat next to his wife. I heard the explosion, so they were going to kill us when they got the chance, as Hinata whispered to him and handed him something to eat. Yeah, but one lived. I told him to get to walking if he wanted to live. As Naruto ate his food with great delight. As they all finished eating their meals, they all decided to get a good night's sleep since they would head out early in the morning. As Harumi sat in her chair reading a book, she heard fighting at the entrance of her door. As she walked out, she saw her bodyguards lying across the floor, what looked like a puncture hole in their chest. Although they were still breathing, they were in no shape to stand. Harumi Nakajima, I can't believe an old bag of bones like you is still alive and kicking. When I asked the villagers who's the best forger in this mud hole of a village and they said your name, I knew Naruto was here as Sasuke walked up to her and stared. Naruto? I haven't seen him since the war, and what does a traitorous scum like you want with someone like him anyway, as Harumi looked back at him in his eyes with no fear in her heart. Enough talk you shriveled up piece of shit, where's the blonde and his whore going to? Don't make me get physical on you, I'm pretty sure your old decrepit body can't handle what I'm going to do to you, as Sasuke grabbed her around her neck. Sasuke, let her go, she's a bloody war hero for crying out loud. You can't hurt her, if people find out what you did, there will be repercussions from every nation calling for your head. She was instrumental in the defeat of Madara, let her go and let's just search the house, as Sakura pleaded with Sasuke to withdraw his hand from around her neck. We don't have time, last time to tell us, as Sasuke charged up his Chidori and tried to intimidate Harumi with it. I lived a long time and I never betrayed a client or my village, Naruto should have killed you when you two fought 4 years ago. His nindo and his compassion for you proved to be his downfall, you're nothing but unadulterated hate that can never know love or compassion from another human being. You're nothing but a monster, a beast without a soul, the wrong Uchiha died to leave its future to you. Itachi should have killed you and chosen someone worthy to carry on the name of Uchiha, instead of a characterless monster, as Harumi spat directly in his eyes. You little dried up little bitch, how dare you spit in the last Uchiha face with such disrespect. Talk now or you die, as Sasuke slowly placed his Chidori on Harumi's chest and let out a burst of electricity that made her shake violently. Fuck you. You weak Uchiha bastard, as Harumi lifted her middle finger up and smiled. Where is he, as he struck her again with his Chidori. He's found love, what do you have? Nothing, she willing to die for him and you, no one cares if you as so much die right in front of them, as she laughed in his face. Shut up. Shut up. Tell me where he's at, you old ghoul. What village is he going to? Why are you protecting him, he's not even from your village, as he struck her 5 times with Chidori hoping to break her resistance. He's something special, something you'll never be, and something you'll never understand. Naruto brings peace and understanding. Something a hate monger like can never do, understand people with compassion, as Harumi passed out from her injuries. Sasuke knew she would be dead within the hour, he slammed her down on the floor and walked away in disgust from the old lady who hurt him with her words. Sakura quickly ran to Harumi and tried to heal her, all Sakura could do was cry. Harumi was her friend that she met in the war, both her and Naruto both became close to her and formed a bond with the little old lady. Sakura, stop, let me die in peace knowing I helped Naruto. Promise me that you'll help Naruto as well, Naruto needs Hinata in his life. If Hinata's hurt then Naruto is hurting, their destiny is unfulfilled and must be completed together for the future of all villages, as Harumi bled from the mouth and passed away with a smile on her face. Why Sasuke? Why did you have to kill her? As Sakura closed Harumi's eyes. She had a choice, all she had to do was answer the damn questions. She sealed her own fate the moment she refused to tell me, as Sasuke walked toward the door. Come on, we're going to see the gangster Hinata defeated, maybe he knows where they are headed. As Sakura looked at her one-time friend and ally, she took some covers off the couch and covered her body up. As they left her home they both questioned the villagers and drug dealers and whores where to find this old One-Eye patch. Many were reluctant to talk to them because they knew of old One-Eye's reputation and they were not going to risk their life by spilling his information. As they approached a whore on the street, Sasuke asked her of the whereabouts of old One-Eye. For a price she gave them his whereabouts, as they gave her the money they went to his base of operations. As they made it to old One-Eye's base, they approached the 2 guards at the door and asked to see their boss. As they guards looked at the 2, they told them to get lost and shoved Sasuke. This enraged the Uchiha, who pulled out his sword and removed both of the guards' hands. As the guards screamed in agony, it attracted the attention of their comrades. As they approached the 2 ninjas they saw their comrades' hands on the ground, they all pulled out their weapons and prepared to attack their intruders. Stop! Yelled their leader as he looked at Sasuke and Sakura. Good, I don't have time to kill all of you. I just have a couple of questions, answer them, and I'll be on my way, as Sasuke sheathed his sword. This must be important for ninjas to come to a village that kills shinobis on sight. Ask your stupid questions and get the hell of my property before I send my men to kill you, as old One-Eye unsheathed his sword. The blonde and the red-head man that you fought, do you know where they went? Asked Sasuke as he looked at the criminal leader. They'll be dead within a couple of hours, my men are going to kill them when they fall asleep. So you can pick up the bodies if you like, they're heading to the shipping docks to go across seas. So your time was wasted on coming here, as he turned back to go into his base. No, your men are already dead, the ones you're chasing are ninjas, give me 2 horses and I'll kill the one who embarrassed you and bring back his body so you can show the village that you don't take no shit from no one, as Sasuke smiled at their leader. As he thought about it, he knew that his cutthroat bandits were no match for the 2 he faced earlier. Alright, you got yourself a deal, but betray me and I'll use all the money I have to put a bounty on you if you steal my horses and break your word, as old One-Eye motioned for his men to bring out some horses for their guest. As he gave them the directions on the map to where to go, Sasuke nodded and got on the horse and headed toward Naruto and Hinata's position. As they left Carrion Village, they knew that they had some serious catching up to do. Countdown. 3 hours. As Sakura and Sasuke woke up from their sleep, they let the horses rest and drink since they rode them hard all night. As they got on their horses to pursue Naruto and Hinata, they quickly rode the trail Old One Eye gave them. As they rode the horses for an hour, they came across a corpse that had no hands. As Sakura jumped down from her horse, she quickly examined the body. It seems his hands were blown off by an explosion. He bled to death, maybe from a paper tag bomb. There are no more marks on his body consisting of a battle, but it looked like he walked a long distance. See the blood droplets trail from where he just fell down at. As Sakura pointed to the blood trail on the road. It seems we're on the right track. Naruto is heading to the land of spring. He's probably already at the docks waiting to board a passenger ship to blend in. If he takes a private boat, the owners will recognize him because of so little people on the boat. With a large boat he will blend in with no problem. Naruto, you really have become smart, haven't you? As he looked at Sakura. Sasuke was surprised that he gave Naruto a compliment for being intelligent. Come on Sakura, I know a small tour boat salesman that's not far away who can take us directly to the port where Naruto is going. Naruto, once I kill you, I will rebuild the Uchiha clan, and we will be the ninjas the shinobi world will fear. As Sasuke smiled on finally being able to kill the only one who could stand in his way. As Naruto and Hinata looked on the horizon of the land of spring, both saw their future filled with peace in a foreign land with their unborn child. Hinata leaned backwards and braced herself in Naruto's arms as she held her stomach. She reached back and kissed Naruto on his cheek and whispered in his ear. Isn't this the most beautiful place you ever seen? We're free, Naruto, from unjust politics and the way of the ninja life. We finally get to be together as husband and wife. I'll always remember this view, it's where our happiness all began. As Hinata leaned even further back to feel Naruto's warm embrace. Yeah, the first time I came here I was helping Yuki for a mission. It turns out she was running from her past to escape execution and injustice done to her by her uncle's betrayal. It's funny because I'm returning to her land to escape the same thing, and now she's helping me. As Naruto chuckled on how fate was truly ironic. As Naruto and Hinata just stared at the view of the ocean, Akina approached and asked the two lovebirds did they have anything that she could snack on because she was very hungry. This angered her older brother as he heard her asking for food. Akina, leave them alone and stop begging. We'll find some food on our own. We will never be street pigeons looking for crumbs from others. We can't rely on the kindness of strangers all of our lives. As Makoto grabbed his sister by the hand and tried to walk off. Hinata quickly stopped the duo from leaving. Makoto, she's hungry, and so am I. Why don't you two join me for a quick bite to eat? Don't worry, the food is on me. As Hinata smiled, seemed to radiate so much kindness and warmth that Makoto had no choice but to smile and accept. Naruto couldn't believe that Hinata was such a natural with children. He wished that when he was younger, he could have met someone with even half the kindness of his wife. As he watched Hinata play with the children while they ate, he knew that his child would be blessed to have a mother like Hinata. As the two children finished eating, Naruto noticed that Makoto had a wrinkled up comic book in his back pocket. Naruto decided to be polite and ask him what he was reading. This is a story about Naruto Uzumaki of the Leaf Village. I don't know how to read, but the action scene seems really awesome. I bet if Naruto came to Carrion Village he could bring peace just like that. As Makoto snapped his fingers. Naruto was shocked. He remembered that he gave one of Jiraiya's old publishing company permission to write a book about him, but he never imagined it would be a comic book. As he read the comic book it made him seem unbeatable, and he knew that wasn't the case. It was plenty of times he came home with knife wounds, burns, jutsu marks and sword slashes over his body. He knew that the publishers had to embellish the truth on him, but he knew if they told the truth, they wouldn't be able to sell any books at all. One day I'm going to return to Carrion and make it peaceful. I'm going to surpass Naruto and bring peace just like he did in the war. As Makoto reached back for his comic. He never let that book out of his sight. He fought 3 boys over it who tried to take it from him. He wants to be the next protector of peace. As Akina smiled at Naruto. So what, if Naruto was at the village when they attacked us, he would have defeated them all in a blink of an eye. As he got mad at his sister for telling everyone about how he loves that book. Tell you what, Makoto, I'll teach how to read and then you'll know what they're saying in the book. Would you like that? As Hinata motioned for the book. Makoto handed her the book so he would finally be able to understand what the book was talking about. All he ever did was look at the pictures. Now the story would truly come alive for him. As he listened to Hinata read the story, he didn't blink or let anything around him break his hypnotic trance as Hinata read the book to him. As she read, he followed her hands and tried to remember the words in the book. As he looked at Hinata, he wondered if he could find someone like her when he gets older. As Sasuke and Sakura was on the small boat with Sasuke's acquaintance traveling at top speed to beat Naruto to the docks, Sasuke noticed a small boat following them, but really didn't pay that much attention to it because it seemed to be heading to the island as well. Sakura, you must put all of your emotions to the side and terminate Hinata's pregnancy at all cost. She isn't a friend now, she's a contract that must be fulfilled by us. I'll take care of Naruto personally. When he's distracted, strike her stomach with one of your medical jutsu. Use that chakra scalpel of yours, it's fast, effective and clean, and we won't have to worry about that much blood once she miscarriage, as Sasuke pulled out his sword to sharpen it and clean it at the same time. As Sakura looked in his eyes, she saw Sasuke's bloodlust start to rise, although he showed no emotion. A simple smirk of his lips was all it took for Sakura to realize that he enjoyed the hunt for the killing. As she saw that they were close to the island, she prepared in her mind to do what needed to be done. Hey Sasuke, I can't go near that pier to let you off, it's for the big body boats, but I can let you off at the trading dock. If your prey is coming from that boat like you say, then they will need to pass through the gap in the valley to get to the palace, said the boat driver, as he prayed that Sasuke would be in a good mood and keep his sword away from his neck. Fine, but you better hurry because my sword is craving for blood, and if I miss Naruto, yours will suffice its lust for now, as he turned away annoyed by the talking of the boat driver. I hope someone kills this ruthless bastard. I thought his village would have him executed and we would be free from such malevolence from this world. He's nothing but hatred personified. The only thing I can come up with is that the village wants to return the Uchiha's bloodline back to the village, making them stronger once again, as the boat driver thought to himself. We made it and we beat the ship your friends were on by 20 minutes. See Sasuke, I always deliver in a tight spot, as the boat driver was relieved. As Sasuke and Sakura approached the docks, they prepared themselves to take on the two deserters of the village. As Naruto and Hinata arrived on the docks, they were only an hour away from Yuki's palace, where their money and land was waiting on them by Naruto's longtime friend. As they passed the security details, they headed toward their destination when they noticed that Makoto and Akina were going in the opposite direction. Hey, aren't you coming with us? Asked Hinata as she looked scared for the two little children. I think it's better if we split up now. We like you, we really do, but what if you decided we're nothing but trash or some Save the Kids project? I can't put Akina through that, we're better off by ourselves, as Makoto grabbed his little sister's hand. No. I want to stay with her, our destiny is intertwined with theirs. They're going to need us, and it's you that's scared we will be abandoned again, as Akina tried to break away from her brother's grasp. Naruto approached the two little kids and took a knee. Makoto, why don't you come with us, and if you don't like it you can leave. Well, you're with us, I can show you some jutsus that can make you become more powerful than Naruto if you like. You do know how to focus chakra, right? As Naruto rose off his knee. Yeah, but it's not very good, I take that back, it's horrible. Can you really teach me how to fight, or is this a ploy to make me come with you? As Makoto looked at him with a serious expression. I give you my word, as Naruto held out his hand as an agreement to the little boy's terms. Makoto shook his hand, he couldn't believe his luck. For years people spat on him, beat him and stole from him. Then he met two strangers that made his life a little bit more bearable with their generosity and understanding. As all four began to walk toward the palace, Naruto told them all about the history of the country. He told them it was on gigantic island that inhabited millions of people all over the land. He described many wildlife, birds and animals, to keep them from being bored. As they came to the valley to reach Yuki's palace, Naruto made sure to be very careful so that Hinata and the children wouldn't be hurt. As they made it down the rugged peaks, each one did not want to crack their head going down. As they finally made it to the flat part of the land, they thought it would be smooth sailing. There they are, and walking with some small children. Naruto, you're still the fool. Bringing street trash like that with you because they remind you of yourself, typical simple-minded buffoon, and you're too sentimental, as Sasuke pulled out his sword to confront his one-time best friend. Sasuke remembered Tsunade said be diplomatic first, we have to follow her orders, she's the Hokage, as Sakura grabbed his shoulder to remind him of their true mission. Do as I say, my word is law when it comes to you. And the next time you touch me without permission you will be punished, as Sasuke backed her up with a killer intent and glare. As Naruto and Hinata made it to an open field, they saw their comrades from the village blocking their way. Hinata, get the children and yourself to safety, it seems they sent my former teammates to dispose of me. Makoto, Akina, it seems I have to reacquaint myself with my old friends. Don't worry Makoto, I'll still train you, it's just I will be busy showing my friends. I meant what I said, if someone come after me and my wife, as Naruto pulled out two kunes. I'm not leaving you Naruto, if my husband is in danger we face it together. Kids, go on past them, their objective is me and Naruto, they wouldn't stoop to hurt children, as Hinata motioned them to leave them. As the children looked at Sasuke and Sakura, they ran as fast as they could from the two who were there to kill their friends. Sakura, I'll take care of Naruto, kill that bastard that's growing in that whore's stomach. It's time you showed that you're worthy of being with a true Uchiha, do this, and I will consider you for a potential mate for the rebuilding of my clan. Ha, that's a laugh, why don't you tell her the truth Sasuke? Forget it, I'll tell her, your precious Sasuke-kun petitioned my little sister as a candidate to help rebuild his clan. He wanted someone with a strong Kekkei Genkai to ensure that his offsprings would carry on his genes. My father and sister refused his failed marriage proposal, but they tried to offer me. Since I was no longer the heir, they toyed with the idea until they found out me and Naruto were dating. Since the Hyuga clan wanted more power and Naruto was definitely going to be the next Hokage, they refused that request as well. You see, Sakura, he had no plans on ever making you his wife. Last I heard, he was trying to get Ino to help revive his clan. She would be the next choice, seeing she has a bloodline trait and you don't, as Hinata laid the truth out for Sakura. To tell you the truth, I was really hoping to impregnate you with my seeds of greatness. You have the body that a man craves and I would have knocked you up for at least 10 times. Then I saw you with Naruto and I definitely don't want a whore who would stoop that low, as Sasuke chuckled to himself. I'd rather be his whore than to ever be called your wife. I guess that extra large ego of yours makes up for a small dick, as Hinata threw her jacket on the ground and pulled out a pair of kunes to be by her husband's side when they attack. As all eyes locked onto Hinata from that statement that came out her mouth, Naruto began to laugh at Sasuke's expense. Whatever, Sakura, kill her baby but make sure she lives. You can be as rough as you like with her, just make sure you don't go too far, said Sasuke as he prepared himself for battle. If you think I'm letting that pink-haired bitch lay a finger on my wife, then you're wrong, dead wrong, as Naruto made a Rasengan that spiraled in his hand with such intensity that it lit up and sparked. The wind from the Rasengan was so strong that it actually caused a dust storm that made Sasuke and Sakura cover their eyes. Naruto used his speed and darted straight for his two friends turned enemies. As he came crashing down trying to kill Sasuke, the two of them evaded a death strike that sent chills up the Uchiha's spine. Sasuke blocked Naruto's path back to Hinata. He quickly yelled for Sakura to take out Hinata. Sakura knew that this was the only time she could talk to Hinata and persuade her to help take out Sasuke. Hinata thought it would be better to get some distance so her and Naruto wouldn't be in each other's way. As she ran as fast as she could from the three of them, she hoped that Sakura would follow her. As Sakura chased after Hinata, she kept calling her name. As Hinata came to a complete stop, she looked at Sakura. As Sakura approached Hinata, she was stopped by two kunes flying directly toward her head. "Hinata, wait, I'm here to help you," screamed Sakura to make Hinata stop fighting. "But to an early grave. I heard what Sasuke said to you, and if you think you're coming 2 feet near me, then I'm going to stop your heart with my gentle fist." Simple and plain as Hinata got into her family Taijutsu stance. "Hinata, I'm your friend I come," as she was cut off by Hinata yelling. "Friend? You dare speak those words out of your mouth? When they took me to have my pregnancy terminated, you rode with them to make sure it gets done. Is that what a friend does in your book? When Naruto nearly died by the hands of that bastard Sasuke, did you cry for Naruto, or did cry because Sasuke left you without so much as a care in the world? When pain attacked the village, did you risk your life to save Naruto? I'll even ask you this, Sakura, you knew I loved Naruto, did you tell him? No, why? Because you wanted someone to always want you just in case your dear Sasuke-kun didn't come back to you, and when he did, how long did it take for you to end up in his bed and to be his personal sexual relief? Not once did you mention to Naruto that I always loved him, but when we finally got together I was scared he was going to leave me for you. I was so afraid to say stay away from her. Then something eye-opening happened. He saw the real you, hateful toward him, abusive toward him, and the more he saw your true colors, he realized that you were not his friend. How does it truly feel to know the one guy in the village that cared for you unconditionally, you chose to throw him away for a true traitor? They said you were smart, so why did you do something so foolish as to forsake love?" As Hinata rant became so unbearable to Sakura, she was literally crying on the inside and out. Sakura decided to push all those hateful words out of her head and try to convince Hinata she was sincere. As she took a step toward Hinata, Hinata planted a well-placed Ken strike in the center of her chest, causing her to gasp for air. She quickly threw a punch to back up Hinata and her deadly attacks. As Sakura saw that she was in Hinata's field of vision, she jumped back as fast as she could. The last thing she needed was to be hit with her 8 trigrams 32 palms technique. Sakura knew now that Hinata dumped her shyness to protect her husband and their child. Sakura was looking at a whole new Hinata that had no qualms about taking her life if need be. Sakura decided to use her strength to take down her friend. As she charged up her chakra in her hand, she leapt in the air and came crashing down next to Hinata, causing a massive quake and leaving a crater where Hinata stood. As Hinata dodged Sakura's explosive attack, she knew that a well-placed punch of that magnitude struck in her pregnant stomach would surely kill the baby and maybe her along with it. As Hinata once again got back into her stance, she waited patiently for Sakura to make another move. As Sakura looked at Hinata, she knew that she had no choice but to knock her out and hopefully be able to assist Naruto with Sasuke. Sakura wished now that she would have spoken up against Sasuke earlier when they blocked their path. She prayed that Naruto would give her the benefit of the doubt and believe her. "So tell me, Sakura, are you finally jealous of me? I have a husband that gave up his dream of becoming Hokage and made me his dream." As Hinata struck Sakura in the shoulder as she was distracted by Hinata's taunt. "What? As Sakura jumped back from Hinata's brutal words and strikes. How does it feel to be the last on the list of mates of your precious Asuka-kun? Is he still your knight in shining armor? As Hinata struck Sakura once again, this time in her thigh. I have to block out her taunts, it's starting to affect my performance, and on top of that she became an excellent kunoichi. Who would have thought that this shy, stuttering failure could give me such a hard time, thought Sakura. Sakura with a burst of speed tried to connect a punch to Hinata's head. Hinata evaded but felt the wind pass by her face. You want to know something interesting? My husband knows this, but did you know that Sasuke approached me when we were 13 for a date? Sakura shook her head no. No, yes he did, and I flat out refuse him. I wasn't going to be some fangirl or some stupid bimbo to be used at his pleasure. I think the only reason he wanted to go out with me is because he saw that I had a crush on Naruto, and as a friend of yours, I sent Sasuke your way. I guess we all know how that turned out, he ignored you and didn't give you a second glance, as Hinata struck Sakura 3 more times in her chest with her Jiken-style technique. Shut up. You pale-eyed bitch. As Sakura lost her temper completely. Sakura with blinding speed caught Hinata in the jaw, backing her up. Sakura threw another punch that landed directly in the bridge of Hinata's nose, making her bleed through her nostrils. As Sakura placed a nice roundhouse kick to the face of Hinata, making her fall to the ground. Sakura started breathing hard, trying to catch what little air she could in her lungs. As she looked at Hinata stand up, she saw that Hinata was actually smiling and had 2 kunes in her hand. What's so damn funny? As Sakura seen that Hinata was tougher than she looked. I've been meaning to try this technique out, and I'm glad that it's against the one whom always was hurting the love of my life. As she raised her kunes over her head, the kunes glowed a dark blue as they surged with Hinata's chakra. She's using Asuma's technique he used for his trench knives. What is she up to? You're now in my range, Sakura, time to feel my technique. 8 trigrams 32 kunai strike as Hinata prepared her onslaught. Shit, Hinata's going all out. I have to get away from her field of vision, as Sakura thought on how to escape from the pregnant Hyuga. Before she could even move, Sakura felt a slash go across her chest. 4-8-16-32 as Hinata called out the strike numbers of her attacks to take down her friend turned enemy. Sakura felt every slash go across her body. She tried to block the surgical attacks, but they were too precise, and Hinata's hand speed was greater than hers. Finally, Sakura succumbed to Hinata's skillful attack and fell on the ground, bleeding from all over her body. Hinata, I was trying to help you. Sasuke was given a mission to kill Naruto. I didn't want him to kill Naruto. I was trying to help you. As Sakura looked at the failure of the Hyuga clan that defeated her. You still don't get it, Sakura. We don't need your help. If you want to help us, leave us alone. Let us have a life together. Tell our former village that. Now I'm going to help my husband get rid of that no good son of a bitch. Who knew my hormones would make me this angry? As she walked to help her husband take on the last Uchiha. Wait, Sasuke is stronger now, maybe stronger than Naruto. If you get involved you will both die and the baby as well. As Sakura got to one knee and pleaded with Hinata to not get in the way. All this time and you still don't know what it means to be part of a team? If Sasuke is stronger, that only makes me want to get involved more. When I'm weak, Naruto makes me strong. If Naruto is weak, I will make him strong. We're a team, a married team of 2. This is true love. Sakura remember what it looks like as Hinata left Sakura and went to help her husband. Even though Sakura was defeated, she actually saw what true love really looks like. They protect and love each other, something that Sasuke never reciprocated. As she stayed and healed her injuries, she still planned on helping the 2 no matter what. As Sasuke blocked Naruto from getting to Hinata, he told Sakura to take care of Hinata. As Hinata looked at Sakura and Sasuke, she quickly ran away from all 3. I guess the failure is smarter than she looks. She running away to save her own life and the baby. As Sasuke heard Sakura screaming for Hinata to stop running. I see that your evil has no bounds. Move, Sasuke, because if Sakura hurts my wife, I'll make sure that I hit you with a Rasengan so hard there won't be anything left to identify your body when I'm finished. You'll be a big red puddle of goo on the ground. As Naruto took his stance to take down Sasuke. HHHHMMPHH bravery. It seems everyone you know seems to have it by the pounds, even that old bag of bones Harumi. Well, she did until I killed her. As Sasuke chuckled as he looked at Naruto with his Sharingan activated. You lie. As Naruto let his guard down to look at Sasuke. I must say that for a 200-year-old ghoul she withstood a repeated punch from my Chidori, but still wouldn't tell me where you were. It took that gangster that wanted you and that pale-eyed wife of yours dead for me to find you. As Sasuke rushed Naruto with his sword to cut his one-time friend down, Naruto was still reeling from the statement that Harumi was killed by Sasuke. Naruto fighting spirit had come crashing down once he realized that Harumi protected him so they could escape. He gathered up his emotions and attacked Sasuke, but kept his anger in check. As their weapons clashed back and forth, each strike ignited sparks from their weapon, as both combatants used every bit of their skills to take each other down. Why, Sasuke? Why did you betray me once again? As Naruto got behind Sasuke and swung his kunai at his neck. As Sasuke dodged Naruto's ferocious attack, he looked at Naruto. It's you who has betrayed me. When you defeated me, you won my respect. I returned to the village on my own free will, thinking we will change the Konoha into our image. We would get rid of the old fools who refuse to change with the times and get rid of the corrupt elders who think that a shinobi life isn't worth shit. We could have made the village like it was supposed to be made, Uchiha and Senju together. But when I returned you could have been Hokage, but no, you wanted more time to improve before you took the post. Then instead of being the ruler of the elders and the clans, all you became was a yes man. You didn't refuse the elders, the Hokage or the clan heads, you were their loyal servant, obedient without question. I waited patiently for you to make our village into our image of what ninjas should be. I would have killed all those who opposed your rule, and we would have ruled this country with strength through our power that would have made heaven and hell afraid of us. As Sasuke attacked once again with his sword, trying to cut Naruto's head completely off. You always called me a fool, Sasuke, don't you remember history? The sage of the six paths chose a successor to help this world achieve peace through love. Jiraiya and my father believed that true peace is when every man can understand each other. I refused to throw away those teachings of peace for a false peace, surrounded by fear through oppression, as Naruto tried to connect his kunai to the head of Sasuke. As both combatants refused to yield, Sasuke drew first blood as he cut Naruto across his leg with his sword. Naruto quickly regrouped and threw his kunai at the eye of Sasuke, hoping to get lucky. As Sasuke blocked the kunai, he saw that the kunai handle was wrapped in a paper tag bomb. As it exploded in front of Sasuke's face, Naruto rushed over and delivered a punch that took Sasuke off his feet. As Sasuke tried to recuperate from that heavy blow, Naruto delivered a kick to his head that left Sasuke dazed and confused. As Sasuke focused his Chidori energy through his sword, he aimed it at Naruto. Naruto dodged the electricity coming his way. I know I didn't see him wrap the paper tag around his kunai, he couldn't have pre-wrapped it earlier because it would have exploded. As Sasuke looked down, he saw blood on the kunai. Wait, he did have it pre-wrapped, it activates when his blood is put on the paper tag, but I didn't see him bite his finger. Wait, the blood from his. Very clever, Naruto, you used the blood from your leg wound to activate the kunai with the paper tag bomb. You are still quite the innovator when it comes to fighting, as Sasuke chuckled on Naruto's cleverness. You haven't seen anything yet, as Naruto poured every ounce of speed and power to take down the last Uchiha. Sasuke couldn't remember ever having such a battle that was taking him to his maximum potential. Naruto was the only ninja alive that could push Sasuke to his limit and beyond. That was what Sasuke respected the most from his blonde friend. Naruto, there's still time, join me my brother, together we can still make the Konoha the greatest of its time. Together we can make our own philosophy for the village, all you have to do is trust me. With you as the war hero and the new Hokage we can achieve your goal and mines. As Sasuke let his guard down. Like I said, I heard those fanatic rants from tyrants like you all my life, everyone wants peace through devastation and murder. The price is always too high to pay. As Naruto looked at Sasuke as he dropped his guard also. You want the village to be corrupt free and peaceful, right? Give that pampered third-rate ninja Hinata if he wants her that bad. You had your fun with her and she's been soiled by you. You can rub that in his face, have the baby aborted and come back to the village, become Hokage, and I'll kill those damn elders, starting with Koharu and Homura. They're the ones that are the most corrupt, they are the ones that approached Hiashi about giving Hinata to that rich bastard. You see, I did some checking, they've been lining their pockets with his money for the last year. That's why they are pushing for Hinata to be this man's wife so bad, she's a victim of their greed and this is the village that you want to protect so bad. As Sasuke looked at Naruto in the eyes to let him know that he was telling him the truth. Naruto's anger began to rise to a whole new level, all he could think of was that he followed the rules faithfully and they took his happiness and love away for money. Sasuke sensed that Naruto was starting to break down from that news. Come on Naruto, give the rich ninja Hinata, you always liked Sakura, right? Well, you can have her until you get Hinata back. I know Sakura doesn't have what Hinata's got body-wise, but she is a decent lay. Just use her until you find someone better, but trust me, Sakura will do anything you ask sexually wise, as Sasuke smiled at Naruto. No. No. I refuse to let someone touch my wife. I refuse to abort my child. But most of all I refuse you, Sasuke. I don't care if the whole council is corrupt, the villagers aren't. One day I will return and I'll get rid of all the corruption in our village, but for now I'm taking my wife to safety. As Naruto rushed Sasuke, he slashed him across his chest, making Sasuke wince in pain. It seems like you're still the fool, having an unfathomable loyalty to a village that despised you since birth. The village will be missing it, idiot, once I kill you. We could have made the Konoha great, but you lack the motivation to kill what's in your way to get what you want. That's something I'm never lacking, any who stand in my way will feel the wrath of my blade, as Sasuke slashed Naruto across the chest in retaliation from his attack earlier. As two of the elite ninjas of their time era fought, the landscape began to change because of their unrivaled jutsus they used to try and kill each other. The land looked devastated with fire and wind like devastation that destroyed the nearby trees. As both were nearly drained of their chakra and their muscles seemed torn from their battle, they continued to fight, one for the love of his family, the other for motivation of hatred to get rid of Konoha Council who made the village weak. As Sasuke prepared to attack Naruto once again, he felt a presence coming from behind him. He quickly dodged the attack and jumped to the side. As he looked down, he saw Hinata had punched a hole in the ground with a technique that looked like a lion heads attached to her fists. Well, you actually beat the pink-haired twit. Is that the gentle step-twin lion fists? I must say you're impressive, fighting while pregnant, and you came back to help your husband, so you ran away to take care of Sakura all by yourself. I wish now that your clan would have given me you. Oh well, I should have known that Sakura would have failed miserably. It's what she does the best. Hinata, you may want to kiss your husband goodbye, because this is the last time you'll see him alive. But first let's get rid of that baby bump of yours. As Sasuke rushed Hinata, she barely had time to react from Sasuke's attack. As Sasuke had 4 of his fingers charged with his chakra, his aim was coming straight for the belly of Hinata. As he was an inch away, Naruto caught his wrist and twisted it until he heard Sasuke shriek in pain. Hands off the baby. As Naruto punched Sasuke so hard that a tooth stuck into Naruto's knuckle, he quickly removed the tooth and threw it on the ground. Hinata, let me handle this. You carry the future Uzumaki inside of you, this is something that I must handle alone. As Naruto rushed Sasuke, he steady beat him punch after punch. You bastard, you were going to kill my child. As Naruto kicked him in the mouth, Sasuke fell to the ground hard. Naruto got on top of Sasuke's chest and pounded away with heavy punches to his face. You backstabbing murderer, this is for Harumi. This is for Hinata. This one is for all those you murdered. As Naruto kept beating Sasuke in the face until his head was literally pounded into the ground, a small pool of blood began to pour from Sasuke's head as he was beaten violently for more than a minute. Hinata never saw Naruto so merciless or out of control. She began to speak, but her words couldn't come out of her mouth. Naruto, stop please, it's over, he's beaten. You're not a killer like he is, you're a father and a husband, and my one true love, as Hinata pleaded for her husband to return to the man she loved. As Naruto heard Hinata's plea, he stopped punching his former friend. He saw that Sasuke's face was swollen so bad that he didn't even look like himself at all. Naruto had almost given in to his anger when he saw Sasuke try and hurt Hinata and the baby. As he walked away, he heard Sasuke say something. See, you're a sentimental fool that can't do what it takes to remove the obstacles in your way. I'm here to kill you, and you turn away. The leaf got you so brainwashed with that stupid philosophy of peace, you'll walk away from an enemy that is vowed to kill not only you but your unborn child and to hand your wife over to a former enemy as a bargaining chip. This is what you're willing to sacrifice for your beloved village. You may think the village is worth saving, but it's not. I will eventually be the one who will make the Konoha rise to greatness once again. Once I rebuild my clan, we will kill all of the unethical elders and clan heads that don't see things my way. Itachi left the Konoha future to me, and I won't fail. As Sasuke laid on the ground a bloody mess. Itachi wanted you to protect the village, not rule it through intimidation and terror. It is you that has been brainwashed, first by Orochimaru and then again by Madara. Your viewpoint is the same as theirs. I hope in time that you can see that before it's too late. As Naruto backed away from his fallen friend. As Naruto walked away backwards facing his enemy, he learned never to turn his back on a fallen foe. Completely drained of almost all of his chakra, he hobbled next to his wife so they could begin their new lives. As they were leaving, an explosion ignited near them. Naruto knew that Sasuke somehow planted the paper bomb earlier. He quickly turned to face Sasuke once again. As he saw Sasuke flying in the air, his target was Hinata. Without hesitation, he jumped in front of her and let the blade pierce him instead of his wife. As Sasuke looked at Naruto, he smiled the most devilish grin Naruto had ever seen him smile. Typical, you were always my target. I knew if I went after your precious wife then you would have sacrificed yourself willingly to protect her. Once you're dead, I'm going to open up that bitch and remove that bastard growing inside of her personally. As Sasuke began to laugh like a lunatic. As Naruto held onto the sword to stop it from going deeper, Hinata saw what Sasuke done to Naruto. As she reached from the back of Naruto's shoulder, she placed a large amount of chakra into her 2 fingers and forced them into the eye of Sasuke. You little bitch, I'm going to make this real painful for you now. As Sasuke reached forward over Naruto's shoulder to grab her by her neck and pull her to him, Naruto, who had a kunai under his sleeve with a mechanical device, felt for the button. Naruto triggered it to spring out, and with his hand speed, he cut off 3 of Sasuke's fingers as he tried reaching for Hinata. As Sasuke jumped back and pulled the sword out of Naruto's top part of his chest, he looked at his hand as the blood started to run out of his cut-off appendages. Naruto looked down and saw the 3 fingers. He quickly performed a Rasengan and smashed it into Sasuke's fingers, destroying his 3 digits completely. You motherfucker, I'll kill you and that bitch for taking away my jutsus. As Sasuke prepared to unleash the Mangekyou Sharingan most destructive power. Amaterasu. As he yelled it out, nothing happened, then suddenly Sasuke noticed that a large amount of blood was pouring from his eye. He suddenly felt a pain in his head worse than any headache could ever be, everything became blurry, and his equilibrium was off. As he closed his good eye, he noticed the pain in the eye that was struck by Hinata became darker and gray, and then there was complete darkness. "What did you do to me? I'm blind in my left eye, you bitch, you better fix what you did," yelled Sasuke with so much anger that it unnerved Hinata. "Good, I was only hoping to deactivate your Sharingan by shutting down that chakra point in your eye." This was an added bonus, as Hinata held onto her husband so he could stand up. As he raised his sword, he ran at the duo hoping to kill them both, when suddenly a figure caught Sasuke's wrist and landed a devastating punch to the middle of his face. As Sasuke was knocked backwards, he saw who had struck him. "Kiba? What in the hell are you doing here?" As Sasuke dropped his sword from the punch he received by Kiba. "Not just me, asshole," as Kiba snarled more like a wild wolf than a human as he showed his fangs to his prey. Suddenly Sasuke's entire body was engulfed in Shino's Kikage insects. As they quickly drained Sasuke of his remaining chakra, he fell down completely exhausted from the battle and the insects. Kiba quickly went over and chained up Sasuke and covered his eyes so they would be of no use to him. As they both walked over toward Naruto and Hinata, Naruto formed a Rasengan to get ready to fight the two. "Please Naruto, you're in no shape to fight us, it looks like that sword pierced your lung. I know you heal fast, but it will take you least an hour to even be at a 20% level," as Shino gave a strategic response of Naruto's ability. "Why are you here?" As Hinata took up her Jiken stance to take on her comrades. "The Hokage sent us." She figured the Koharu and Hamura were up to something when they sent Sasuke to retrieve the two of you, as Kiba looked at Hinata. "It looks like he wasn't diplomatic with the two of you like he was ordered. His mission was just to take you back to the Konoha, not to assassinate the both of you. We've been following Sakura and Sasuke since day one, we didn't know he killed Harumi until he left. I'm sorry Naruto, I know that she was a friend. We saw him leaving on a boat so we pursued him, we had to stay far back so we wouldn't attract his attention. But now we have our orders to complete. I know you're trying to take me back, but that won't happen, not while I'm alive," as Hinata charged Kiba and Shino. Suddenly Sakura jumped in the front of Kiba and Shino, this backed off Hinata for a second. "Kiba, Shino, let Hinata leave with Naruto, let them have happiness here, since they could not have it in our own village," as Sakura had her arms spread eagle out, so no one would attack anyone. "No one is taking anyone out of the land of spring. You're looking at two people that asked for political asylum, and you're in my country without consent. Attacking an intended citizen of the land of spring is a crime," yelled the female voice. As Kiba, Sakura and Shino looked up, there was a small unit of ninjas and bodyguards in weird armor that surrounded them. Sakura recognized right away who it was, she quickly took a knee and lowered her head. "Princess Koyuki Kazuhana, we were following after two deserters, that is what brought us to your land," as Sakura knew that if she reported all three to the rest of the daimyos, the Leaf Village would be scrutinized for not following simple protocol when entering another country. "Hey, isn't that the actress who plays Princess Gale in those movies, Yuki Fujikawa?" asked a curious Kiba. "Yes, that's her stage name, she also the ruler of this land, so don't attack her bodyguards or ninjas. This could start an international incident which could lead to war," as Shino made Kiba take a knee as well. As the princess's bodyguards and healers came down, they began to work on Naruto's injuries. As Koyuki came over, she looked at Hinata and smiled. "You must be Hinata, Naruto described you to the letter except for the blonde hair and green eyes. Luckily I can recognize Naruto from a mile away, even if he does have red hair. Don't worry, you're safe here, but I have two people that want to see if you're alright," as Koyuki pointed to Makoto and Akina. As they both rushed down, they gave her the biggest hug she ever received as she blushed at their affection. "As for the 4 trespassers in my country, I want you to leave immediately before I send out my troops to capture you and throw you in the dungeons. If any Leaf Ninja enters my land without going through the proper channels will pay a hefty price," as Koyuki pointed for them to leave. As Shino stood there, he looked at Hinata and began to speak. As Shino took off his glasses, he had tears in his eyes. "Hinata, please be safe, I care for you as I would a real sister. When the Hokage gave me this mission I took it with a heavy heart, now that I see you with your husband I'm glad I failed this mission. Naruto, make sure she's happy and safe. Hinata, I never been this hurt in my life. I'm so upset it hurts to talk, my throat hurts so bad it feels like it's closing up. I'm sad but happy for you at the same time, I wish that you could come back to the village and be happy. Hinata, continue to have the heart you share with everyone, it's the greatest quality that inspire everyone around you," as Shino put back on his glasses to hide his pain from losing a little sister. Ever since she met Shino he never removed his glasses, even when she asked to see the color of his eyes when they were younger. As she looked into his eyes before he covered them up, they were the deepest brown eyes she could ever recall seeing in her life and the saddest. She smiled at the bug handler and nodded her head to let him know everything would be alright. Naruto, protect Hinata at all cost. If I is so much here that she's unhappy, I'm coming back welcomed or unwelcomed and kick the shit out of you, as Kiba tried to hide his pain from the two. Naruto, you were right, Hinata is your soulmate. I'm sorry for everything I done to you as a child all the way up until now, Hinata, please take care of Naruto and his child. You are the glue that will hold the family together, as Sakura began to cry. As the royal bodyguards went and helped Naruto and Hinata, Kiba picked up the tied-up Sasuke and began their way back to the Konoha. As Naruto watched their friends head back to where they came from, they finally took a deep breath and enjoyed their freedom to be together as husband and wife. They knew no matter how brief it was still time they could share together. As Kiba walked over to Sasuke, he heard Sasuke mumbling something. "What did you say, you piece of shit?" growled Kiba so loud that the guards turned to look their way. "I said point me in the direction where Naruto is standing so I can tell him something. I can't see, you dumb mutt, because you blindfolded me," as Sasuke made it to his feet. As Kiba helped up the half-blind Uchiha, he pulled away from Kiba. "Naruto, you're still the fool. How many times do I have to tell you that line about peace and love is a fool's quest? There will never be peace as long as there are men like you and me. This world is built on dominance and suppression. With your way of thinking you will always be weak. You'll always fight and always fail for a cause that can't be achieved. Your child will be just as weak as you, no weaker, because he will follow your ideology and be the fool, just as his failure of a father and mother," as Sasuke gave a half grin at the blonde. "It's just a matter of time when your new home will make you do something dishonorable that you know is wrong. What are you going to do then, run away to another village again? I defeated you along with my wife who believes just as strongly as I do that peace is attainable. It's you who are the weak one, Sasuke. You were cherished, you refused that. You were loved, you refused that. You were forgiven and you spit in my face and try to kill my child. For what? Treating you like a brother. There is nothing left between us, Sasuke. We're now enemies. If you come 3 miles around my family, the last Uchiha will perish." As Naruto held onto his wounds and looked at his one-time brother. As Sakura, Shino and Kiba looked at Naruto, they noticed the one-time face of happiness and free spirit he once possessed was gone. Sasuke gained a powerful enemy this day, and if he came around Naruto like he said, may heaven have mercy on his soul, because Naruto wasn't. As Sakura was walking away, she heard her name being called. "Sakura, please forgive me, I thought that you were trying to kill my child along with Sasuke. I attacked you because this is all me and Naruto have in this life together now. I couldn't let anyone take that away from me. Please forgive me for my attacks, but find forgiveness in your heart for me when I said those cruel words to you. You are a true friend, and I wish you happiness in your life." As Hinata bowed to her one-time friend, and so did Naruto. As Koyuki came over to Naruto, she made him lay down as her medics finished trying to heal him. Naruto told them that he was using his chakra to attend to his wounds, and they need to make sure his wife was alright. "Damn, he's a stubborn one. He had a sword pierce his chest, and he basically fighting against me to heal him," as Koyuki's medic tried to hold him down. Hinata came over and quickly pressed some nerves, making Naruto relax so the healer could do his job. "This can't be the same Naruto from my comic book. I mean, he has red hair and he would never abandon the Leaf Village." As Makoto looked at Naruto. "It's me and it's complicated. I'll tell you everything once we get to my place," as Naruto rubbed Makoto's head. As the little dark-haired boy smiled at his hero come to life, he grabbed his little sister hand and followed behind Naruto and the healers. "Naruto, you're not going to your new home yet. First of all, you're going to let that wound of yours heal, and then you can go home. You're going to be a guest at my palace, and I don't want to hear anything else about why you can't stay." As she looked down at Naruto as he was on a stretcher. As he was about to say something, Hinata gave him that look as to say, "Don't even think about arguing with her." He sighed and let the medics do their job. He looked at the view and smiled. He finally had a life worth living with the love of his life. As Kiba walked on the side of Shino, he asked him did he want to talk about Hinata living in the land of spring. Shino ducked his head into that large overcoat that he wears like a turtle and shook his head no. Kiba knew that Shino cared for Hinata deeply, but he never thought in a million years that he would see Shino emotionally break down the way he did. He decided if Shino ever wanted to talk he would listen with an open ear. "Sakura, get your ass over here and heal my hand. That son of a bitch Naruto destroyed 3 of my fingers. I swear when we meet again I'm going to hold his child's decapitated head up in front of him when he takes his last breath from dying by my hands for what he did to me," yelled a pissed off Sasuke. "I suggest you watch your tongue, Sasuke, because you talking about our teammate's child also. It would be a shame if something was to happen to you on the way back to the village," as Kiba grabbed him by his collar. "Don't worry, Kiba, he knows now that he can't defeat Naruto, and for his hand let the village doctors patch him up. You ungrateful bitch, how dare you refuse me? I let you share my body, I gave you status of an Uchiha concubine. I knew I should have never fucked with you, you're just a waste of time," and my semen, yelled Sasuke so loud that Kiba covered his ears. Sakura rushed towards Sasuke and delivered a devastating blow to his head. "So you just gave me your body but not your love. I stood by your side faithfully, more faithfully than a wife. And yet I'm just some whore to you? I don't care what you do anymore, I won't be by your side to support you or to care for you, you so high and mighty Uchiha are on your own. You better hope we make it to the village before those missing appendages of yours infect your whole hand, as Shino pulled Sakura off of Sasuke, who felt her hands continually slap his face. Say what you want Sakura, but you'll be back in my bed before the week is out, no one else wants you but some loser in the village like Lee, and that's probably about it. Naruto wised up and left your sorry ass for someone who was way sexier, prettier and rich, so being my whore is an honor for you, because basically what else do you have, as Sasuke started laughing menacingly. Suddenly Shino released his Kikage insect on Sasuke, they sucked the little chakra that he had right out of him. I'm tired of hearing his egotistical view on how great he thinks he is, Sakura, you know what he's saying isn't true. He says that to you to make you feel less than dirt so he can use you as he sees fit. You're better than that and don't let him tell you otherwise, as Shino turned around and began to walk back along the path. Hey. Why don't you carry this scumbag? You're the one that drained his sorry ass, why do I have to carry this sack of shit, as Kiba gave a hard kick to Sasuke's ribs before lifting him up on his shoulders. As they got on the boat, Sakura called for a hawk to deliver a message to Kakashi. She would have done it earlier, but she knew if Sasuke seen the hawk, he would have hurt her for trying to inform Kakashi where Naruto was at. As they set sail, Sakura couldn't wait to get home and start her life anew. 3 days had passed. As Naruto stretched out the kinks in his muscles, he looked down in the bed and saw a sleeping Hinata hugged up with a pillow. She had a little baby bump in her stomach that made her look too adorable in Naruto's eyes. He decided to let her rest and go practice outside some of his jutsus. As he wrote a note telling her his whereabouts, he headed out of the palace bedroom and into the hallway. As he walked down the long corridor, he saw Akina and Makoto running his way. Man, you really do heal fast, I thought you would be in the bed for another 5 months. We came by every day to see you, did you get our cards, asked a curious Akina. Yes, thank you very much for keeping me in your thoughts, I really am grateful. Would you two like to train with me, as Naruto dropped to one knee and looked at the small children in the eyes. As they eagerly accepted, they couldn't wait for them to begin their first lesson, especially Makoto. As they headed outside, Naruto heard one of the palace guards calling his name. Princess Koyuki would like for you and your wife to meet her along with her advisors in 2 hours, she has much to ask of you, and I hope that you be prompt, as the guard lowered his head and headed back down the hallway. As Sasuke was chained to the walls in the interrogation room, his hands were covered in mitts and his eyes completely covered. As the 2 old elders walked through the door, they sat down and scowled at the last Uchiha. You had one mission, to bring back Hinata Hyuga and to dispose of the 9 Tails container. You just about caused an international incident with the Land of Spring, and you killed Harumi Nakajima. The Iwa Nation is calling for your head on a platter. The Konoha clan members are angry since you went off your mission to kill both. You told me to kill Naruto, or did you forget? His little whore wasn't coming peacefully, so I had to do what needed to be done. The little pale-eyed woman blinded me in one eye and Naruto took 3 fingers. I believe payback was the right thing to do since they wanted to end my ninja career, as Sasuke let it be known he wasn't intimidated by them. This is a disaster. We had no choice but to ask Naruto and Hinata to return with full pardons. It seems that every civilian knows about your battle with Naruto, care to explain? Asked Koharu as she grabbed Sasuke by his chin to make him aware of the dire situation. I have been down here for 3 days now, why not, ask Tsunade, that pink-haired bimbo Sakura. I have a question for you 2 old farts, when are you going to release me? I'm getting tired of hanging around here, no pun intended, and sick of this food and that idiot Inochi trying to break down my mental barriers. In time you don't know what he might find out I'm hiding, as Sasuke laughed with smugness at the 2 elders. As Homura approached Sasuke with a knife to slit his throat, he heard Sasuke began to talk again. Oh, and if I die by chance by any abnormal way such as poisoning or stabbing, then one of my cohorts will make it public all the bribes you two been taking since the 3rd Hokage. Do you two think your grand image of the leaders of the village could sustain such a horrid scandal? Just think they will investigate you even more, probably all the way back to the 2nd Hokage. I'm pretty sure since you've been dirty this far in life you don't want all of your dirty laundry to be shown to the public, now do you, as Sasuke smirked underneath his blindfold. Homura quickly put away his blade. Alright, we will talk with the Hokage about releasing you, just hang in there for a little while. We sent a message to the Land of Stone and told their leader to come to our village for renegotiation, since Hinata is no longer the bargaining chip on the table. We should have never dealt with you, Sasuke, because of you the village is going to suffer like never before, as Koharu grabbed Sasuke by his hair. When dealing with the devil don't, as Sasuke shook his head to make his captor release his hair. Just think, that rich bastard may actually ask for all his money back since you couldn't deliver the Hyuga to him as promised, all that money he paid you 2 inept old fools, and you couldn't even deliver a woman to his bed. It's so pathetic it isn't worth laughing about. Oh, what the hell, I'll laugh anyway, as Sasuke let out a bellowing laugh. This unnerved the hardcore militant elders. In all their years of knowing the last Uchiha he had never laughed, but now his laughter frightened them to the core of their existence. Ashima, how many assassins did you hire to kill me? As the tall well-built man walked to his sparring arena. I hired 15 of the most well-trained killers of the 5 big countries, Lord Shiva. These men know if they are the one to kill you, they will receive all of your wealth. This is something no assassin could pass up. They would have enough money to retire for 5 generations. As the manservant known as Ashima walked down the arena stairs with his master. As Jidal Shiva headed into the middle of the arena, he looked at his adversaries and motioned for them to attack. As Ashima saw one of the guards coming down with a letter in his hand addressed for his master, he quickly opened it and read its contents. As all of the assassins looked at their opponent, each one did not think of teamwork, but the money they would receive if they were the ones to kill the rich death-seeking man. As a man with a long spear charged Jidal with animal ferocity, Jidal sidestepped quickly and snapped his neck with ease. The female swordmaster ran and dove in the air to cut him in two. He easily caught the sword with his bare hand and punched the female swordsman in her stomach. He threw her down as hard as he could and delivered a death stomp to her head, leaving her lifeless. As the rest saw his brutality, they all rushed to kill him so they could live. Money now was the last thing on their minds. As each assassin tried many jutsus and secret techniques to take him down, all attempts failed miserably against his tremendous skills he displayed. As he looked at all the scattered bodies laid out in the arena, he approached his manservant Ashima. How long did it take for me to defeat them all? As he grabbed a towel from his servant. Approximately 1 minute and 42 seconds, Lord Shiva. As Ashima looked at his master. Jidal quickly backhanded Ashima so hard to the face that he flew into the wall and left an imprint on it. I gave you one task and you failed it miserably. I told you to find the most skilled killers there were and you bring me Genin school dropouts. You wasted my time, Ashima. I should kill you along with those worthless bastards. As he picked up his manservant by the neck. Your skills are just too powerful for anyone to be compared to. Only a god can compete with your powers, Lord Shiva. You're god among ants. Please spare me, I had always served you faithfully. As Ashima held onto his master arm to keep from being choked to death. You're right as usual, Ashima. I'm sorry I let my temper get the best of me. It's not like I expected much from you to begin with. I saw one of the guards bringing a letter down. What did it say? As Jidal wiped the blood off his hands and face. It says your presence is required in the Konohagakure for renegotiating on a sensitive matter. It asked, can you make it within the next couple of days? As Ashima shook with fear from reading the letter. Sure, I have nothing planned. Make sure someone come and clean up this mess. Have my bags packed along with yours and have someone find me more willing and powerful candidates to kill me. As Jidal left the arena stairs and headed to his chambers to meditate. Ashima wished that one day someone actually succeeded in killing that madman. As Naruto finished training his new apprentices, he saw Hinata coming outside with some pastries that she handed to the children. Hinata leaned over and kissed Naruto good morning as the two little kids snickered at their display of affection. Naruto, we have an audience with Koyuki and her advisors and we don't want to keep them waiting. Akina and Makoto keep practicing until we get back and then we're going to take a walk around the town. As Hinata smiled at the two children. As Hinata and Naruto walked into the hallway, a messenger was waiting for them. He quickly told them to follow him. As he led them to a double door that had a royal design on it, he opened the door and there stood Koyuki and 7 of her cabinet members staring at the two newlyweds. As they came into the center of the auditorium, both took a knee in front of the princess. What are you doing, Naruto? As long as I am alive you will never have to bow down before me. Arise, so we may ask what your intentions are for my country. As Koyuki smiled at the red-haired Naruto. Wait, what do you mean he doesn't have to bow? He shall show the proper respect for you letting him stay in the land of spring, yelled one of the advisors so loud the all eyes were on him. First of all, if it wasn't for Naruto I wouldn't be on the throne. He risked everything to keep me safe and he defeated my uncle in the process, so you see it's Naruto who should receive the proper respect. If it wasn't for him you would still be groveling under my uncle's cruel reign of terror. As Princess Koyuki stood up and stared at her advisor in anger. I'm sorry, Your Highness, I apologize to all 3 of you. As he took a seat. As I was saying, what do you intend to do for my country, Naruto? Well, I have enough money and some land I bought to live a life of peace with my wife. I don't have that many skills, except that of a ninja. As Naruto looked at Koyuki. That is why we ask you here, Naruto. We received a letter from the Konohagakure stating that you and your wife shall be pardoned for all acts of desertion and treason if you return immediately to the village. It also states that the 2 of you can stay married, but you must hand over all your family fortune and jutsus for the commonwealth of the village. If you decided to return you will not be accosted by my royal bodyguards or military personnel. But we have another offer for you, Naruto, if you stay. We are in the midst of building a hidden village in the land of spring. We have many ninja clans in our country, but they're not united like the ones in the Konohagakure. If you decide to stay, we would like you to lead this hidden village as a potential leader. You have great respect among all the 5 big countries. We have been debating to build a hidden village for years, but we couldn't find anyone that had the experience and ability to lead them. You Naruto have respect among my people for returning me to power. I ask you this as a friend, help my country as Princess Koyuki bowed her head. Many of the advisors couldn't think of a more qualified candidate than Naruto. He was a living legend, and their own people told stories on how he came and defeated Koyuki's uncle at the age of 13. How many clan do you have in this country? As Naruto looked at all the advisors. Just 7, but there are others, but these are known for their bloodline, and some for their clan names on how powerful they are, said one of the advisors. Take time to think about it, Naruto, the decision is yours and your wife. Just give us 48 hours so we can start looking for another applicant if you refuse, as Koyuki and her advisors gave Naruto and Hinata permission to leave. As they exited the room, both said nothing about the choices that were giving to them. As they made it back to their room, Hinata pulled out some paper and pen and began to write. To the Hokage and esteemed elders and clan's head, I Hinata and Naruto Uzumaki humbly decline your kind and gracious offer to return to the Konohagakure. We find it in our best concern to take up permanent residency in the land of spring. Here we can make a difference than being betrayed by our so-called leaders. We will never call our former village enemy or its people. We choose to bring the will of fire to a place that needs hope, courage and peace. We pray that you tell the villagers the truth of me and my husband's move to another country. You will never have to worry or be burdened by the village's 2 failures any longer. We pray that change comes quick to our former home and that the elders stop thinking of ninjas as a means to do dishonorable things in the name of peace for the village. Instead of thinking of them as expendable ninjas, you should think of your ninjas as part of your family. Sincerely, the new clan leaders of Uzumaki clan of the land of spring. Hinata Uzumaki, Naruto Uzumaki. The new era is born in a country that will be born to a new will of fire started by 2 failures that will change the world for the better. As Ino was lying in the hospital bed, Choji held her hand and talked to her to make sure that everything was alright with her. As Sakura came through the door, she saw Choji basically tending to all of Ino's needs. She couldn't help but smile. Hey Ino pig, what are you still doing in the bed? Naruto didn't hurt that big fat ass of yours, did he? As Sakura came and gave Ino a great big hug that nearly took her breath away. Hey, you're back from your mission already? As Ino looked at her friend waiting for details. Actually, I've been back for 6 days, and this mission was the most strenuous mission I've ever been on, as Sakura took a seat next to the blonde Kunoichi. Dear, why don't I give you 2 ladies time to catch up? Ino, I'll be back to take you home. I already got your medicine, so you don't have to worry about that, as Choji leaned over and kissed Ino on the lips. Ino smiled and blushed really hard after that passionate kiss she received from her former teammate turned boyfriend. As Choji bid the girls a goodbye, he quietly closed the door and headed home. While messing with that fat ass Choji, that guarantee that you'll become an overweight ass woman with sagging for real, Ino pig, as Sakura laughed at her friend. Don't you dare call him that ever again, Sakura, I mean it, never. Choji is one of the nicest men I've ever had the pleasure of being with. He treats me like I want to be treated, and no one's going to disrespect him while I'm around. As Ino was ready to get out of the bed and go after Sakura for calling her boyfriend a fat ass. Whoa, calm down Ino, it was just a joke. I really didn't mean anything by it. It's just harmless teasing, that's all, as Sakura pushed Ino back into the bed. No, I'm sorry, it's just that he's a really great boyfriend and even a better friend. I never thought I would be so touchy about Choji, but the truth is I love him, as Ino gave a genuine smile of love. Wow, you really feel that strongly about Choji? I mean, I see most guys in this village fawn over you like you're the last woman on the planet, as Sakura couldn't believe her ears on Ino's confession. Choji gets me, they can't even comprehend the little things that makes me happy, as she adjusted herself back into the bed. I guess the rumors of Sasuke asking you help revive his clan is false. It doesn't matter, we're not together any longer anyway, since he tried to kill Naruto on our mission, as Sakura really had to know if what Hinata was saying was true. Even though she said she was done with Sasuke, she had yearning to know if Sasuke was only stringing her alone while he looked for a real wife. As Ino took a deep sigh, she looked into her pink-haired friend's eyes. I don't love Sasuke, and I never will after all the evil things he's done to my village and to Naruto, as she looked at Sakura. You may not love him, but what does that have to do with raising his children and continuing his bloodline legacy? As Sakura just had to be certain that Ino really wouldn't have betrayed her. Ino's face now showed extreme anger and scowl that made her forehead look like a walnut. I don't want to raise a child with Sasuke ever. He would only show our child hatred and be cruel as possible if he didn't live up to his standards. Perfect example, Hiashi, Hyuga and Hinata. Sometimes I wished you would have given Naruto a chance. I know that I started to have feelings for him when I got older. He showed that his heart is what makes him handsome, his friendship makes him irreplaceable, and his loyalty to his precious ones is limitless. That's what I envied the most about you, Sakura. No matter what you did to him, he would die for you in a second to keep you safe. I wished you could have took a couple of feet back and saw this, as Ino lay in the hospital bed and looked at her friend. Sakura was upset by her words, and then it came to her. Why didn't you ask Naruto out then if he's such a nice guy? As Sakura folded her arms and waited for her response. I was going to ask him out until I seen Hinata looking at Naruto eating at his favorite restaurant. She loved the blonde baka for so long, and she was a great friend to me. I didn't want another rivalry with another friend over a guy, so I backed off and told her to make a move on him before someone swoops him up. But I gave Naruto the heads up that someone might swoop up Hinata when we were in the land of Iowa. After the battle we all headed home, and Naruto made it his priority to see Hinata and confess. Basically it's because of me they truly got together, as Ino smiled at her friend. Really, I had no idea you did that for Hinata, and when did you have a crush on Naruto after he defeated Pain like everyone else? As Sakura listened to her friend's secrets. When we were taking the Chunin exams, Neji gave Hinata such a beating, and Naruto rushed right down after the match to fight Neji for what he did. He didn't care how strong Neji was, he wasn't going to let him get away for hurting Hinata. I thought that was the most romantic thing I ever seen, and then it went deeper than that. He made a vow that he would defeat Neji for what he did. I think that's when it started. Then my feeling of adoration grew more when he actually defeated Neji. It was like something out of a romance book about a dashing hero protecting the fair maiden's honor, as Ino was blushing on every word she said about Naruto. Well, what do you know? You really cared for Naruto. Too bad now you're going to have to wait until Choji pops the question. As Sakura giggled about Ino really accepting Choji's declaration of love, she knew that Ino, like men who were built like Sasuke and Naruto and Choji, was always considered to be the less attractive ninja in the village. I asked Choji to marry me, and he was mad that I did, but he said yes. He thought it was the man's place to do that, but if you're in love, it doesn't matter who asks. Sakura, I know you said you don't want to be around Sasuke anymore, but I know you'll come up with some reason to go back to him. Don't. Sasuke scares me and I'm scared for you. Sasuke's hatred is unyielding, he loves no one and has no loyalties to anything except his own cause. Since I have been with Choji I've never felt happier and more appreciated in my whole life. I hate to say this, Sakura, but I don't want to be like you. I want true happiness and love. The feelings you have for Sasuke should have been gone the moment he tried to kill Naruto once, and now this makes it the third time. I guess he thought the third time is the charm, as she chuckled at her friend. Sakura was hurt by Ino's statement, but she knew deep down it was true. You know, he said the only man in the village that wants me is Lee. I wondered why he mentioned him of all people. When Shino and Kiba helped take Sasuke down from almost starting an international incident, we were traveling back to the village and he began to berate me in front of them like I was nothing to him. As Sakura's eyes formed tears that resulted from the verbal and physical abuse that Sasuke unleashed onto her soul and state of mind. Because Lee is everything he's not, Lee is kind and considerate to everyone in the village and respected even among the Hyuga clan, and that's saying something. But most of all, when we were Genins, it was Lee that tried his best to protect you. If Sasuke thinks that's a loser, then call me one as well, because I would want someone who cares for me. As Ino words rang the truth into Sakura's ears, the truth on what to look for in a man's heart. Yeah, I guess you're right, I better get going. I heard that the leader of the Shiva clan came in last night and I have to pull patrol duty by the front entrance, so I will come by later to your place so we can catch up. As Sakura gave Ino a big hug. Make it tomorrow, me and Choji are going to be busy tonight. As Ino literally turned red from what she was implying. Doing what? Oh, I get you, don't make any babies until you're married. As Sakura waved both of her arms in an X-like motion to say no. Ino couldn't help but to laugh as she said goodbye to her friend. As Sakura was walking out of the hospital and to her assigned post for guard duty, she couldn't believe that of all people coming her way was Lee. She just smirked and thought her and Ino literally talked him up. She quickly ran to catch the bushy brown ninja's attention. Hey Lee, I haven't seen you in a couple of months, how have you been? Sakura-chan, it is nice to see you again, I thought you forgot about me completely. I'm sorry, but I have guard duty at the front gate and then I have to keep an eye on Sasuke after that since he was released from his holding cell. As Lee looked at his one-time crush. Wait, Sasuke is out of jail? Where is he? Asked a very furious Sakura. He's at his compound last I heard. I wonder what's going on. Why did they arrest Sasuke anyway? First Hinata and Naruto go on a mission and disappear, and then 6 Jonins leave the village the next day and return 4 days later with a beat-up Uchiha. It sounds strange that no one knows what happened to Hinata and Naruto. There are many rumors starting to circulate about Naruto and Hinata that they have been killed by Sasuke, and then there is one that says they left the village as missing nins. The elders refuse to comment, and Tsune'd been in and out of meetings with clan leaders and the elders as well for the last couple of days, as Lee looked worried about the events taking place. Damn, only higher-ups and people sent to retrieve Naruto and Hinata know about what's actually happening. But for the life of me, how is Sasuke still walking around free? He killed Harumi without any remorse. He disobeyed a direct order from the Hokage and went rogue on doing things his way. Have we fallen so low we don't know wrong from right anymore? As Sakura's attention was on the current events on what was happening with her friend's situation. I don't want to take up your time, so I'll go fill in my duty for Niji, since he got to be security for Hanabi and Hiashi, since that clan leader from the Land of Stone is coming for a conference to meet with the Hyuga clan, as Lee seen the way she reacted when he mentioned Sasuke to her. I hate to tell you this, but I'm on guard duty with you, I'm only supposed to fill in until this clan leader leaves, as Sakura smiled at Lee. I wish I could tell you, Lee, the reason for the extra security is because this clan leader was supposed to be married to Hinata and they don't know how Lord Shiva will react to what Naruto's done. I heard he was ruthless, but even I don't think he will start a war over something like this, as Sakura stared into space and ignored Lee talking to her completely. All these years and she still doesn't see me, I'm such a fool. I'm always spouting that fire of youth when I wasted almost all of mine on a woman who loves another man faithfully and eternally. Starting today I'm going to ask out that waitress at the Ichiraku bar stand. I really do need a fresh start to begin my life anew. AM was always nice to me, but I wonder if she would like to go out with me. As Lee stopped to look at the pink-haired goddess that always had his heart but never took the time to get to know him. As it was a quiet walk to the front entrance, Sakura was going to ask Lee later on that night to have dinner with her at Naruto's favorite restaurant. She figured today was a great day for change. As Jidal Shiva walked through the door to talk to the village leaders, he saw all 12 clan heads and 7 elders sitting calmly waiting on his arrival. He knew something was terribly wrong if the top officials were here to talk to him. As he sat down, Tsunade walked up to the front of the table and began to speak. Jidal-sama, we have some news that you don't want to hear. Your betrothed Hinata Hyuga married without consent from her clan in Hokage. We've sent a letter to the Land of Spring asking her to return to our village. She and her husband will be punished for their indiscretions involving you into this mix-up. We hope that you understand that we will allow them to stay married for the political view for the other nations. We would like you to try and understand things are beyond our control with this situation at hand. We would like to ask for you to honor the agreement and we will make any reasonable compromise that would keep this treaty a successful one, as Tsunade tried to sound humble, but to also let him know they would not agree to anything dishonorable. So you let my betrothed get married and you're going to allow her to stay married with little or no punishment involved. Then you want me to agree to your terms you set and you will bring nothing to the table to benefit me or my country. You leaf villagers have the audacity to even approach me with such conceit and think that I would bow down to your demands like a scared little puppy. We have a blood feud with your Inoshika CHM trio and also with the Aburam clan and we had an intense hatred for the 3rd and 4th Hokage and you want to throw away making money and a peace treaty for some silly little girl's fantasies about being in love. I want a Hyuga woman right by my side right now or you can forget this little peace treaty as of now, as Jidal stood up and gave a look of hatred at the top leaf officials. We can't, she's pregnant and she fled the village with her husband, as Shikaku Nara looked at the tall dark-haired man. Yes, we're making preparations as we speak to get her back, as Tsunade tried to calm him down. You know what, you're not even supposed to be the Hokage soon. Where's that Jinchuriki you keep for a pet that's supposed to take over your post Ion, as Jidal got tired of talking to Tsunade. Niji gave a light little chuckle as he looked at Jidal. She's with the Jinchuriki you so rudely disrespected. I guess she chose the Jinchuriki over a loudmouth arrogant ass. Especially since your country couldn't pull its own weight and you had to have that Jinchuriki fight most of your battles for you. What, the people of the Stone Village have yellow streaks down their backs? As Niji made no attempt to masquerade how he felt about Jidal and his country. Why, you little shit, the next time you open your mouth to me I'm going to rip those fucking pale eyes out and squash them right in front of your family and these leaders of the village. No one talks like that to me and don't get punished, as Jidal stood out of his seat and tried to stare down Niji. Enough, Niji, he's a respected guest in our village and he shall be treated as such, as Koharu looked at the angry Hyuga. So Naruto Uzumaki is the culprit. Is this how the future Hokage is supposed to behave? I come to you in peace and respect and that blonde Jinchuriki spits directly in my face as I offer an olive branch. Well, I must say the people of the Fire Country are truly smug when it comes to the other villages. I think it's time for me to say goodbye and the hell with this treaty, as Jidal stood up and walked out the door. As Jidal looked at Hamura and Koharu, they nodded when he gave them a certain look. As he waited outside the room he noticed that a messenger was running toward the Hokage and the elders. He decided to stick around to see if it was anything important. As Tsunade read the letter she showed it to the elders looked at the letter and their faces went completely pale. As they shut the door to discuss the contents, Hiashi, Niji, Konohamaru and Hanabi approached the Land of Stone leader. We're sorry for the inconvenience we caused you. We are here to let you know that you have the support of the Hyuga clan in the Leaf Village, as Hanabi bowed her head to their honored guest. Well, the Hyuga heiress graces me with her presence, and quite a pretty heiress at that. You must be the younger sister of the one who left with Naruto. I must say that the Hyuga women are quite breathtaking. I heard many rumors surrounding the Hyugas and their sexual activity. Is it true that you can press certain pressure points on the body and have a man feeling like he had the best sex he's ever had in his life? I also hear that the women are very good on fulfilling every fantasy a husband asks from his wife, as Jito lifted his hand to play with Hanabi's hair. Before he could reach it, Niji and Konohamaru grabbed his wrist from touching her. You can look but don't touch as Niji held onto his wrist. I don't care if you are a guest, you will respect my wife to be in me or I'll put your sorry ass in a coma, as Konohamaru held onto his wrist with Niji and stared him in the eyes to back him down. It must be true, her sex is making you touch a warrior who can decide if you live or die in a blink of an eye. I suggest you two assholes remove your hands from my wrist before I become pissed off and kill both of you right now. As Jito looked at the two with no fear in his eyes. The Ashi quickly tried to defuse the situation and told them they were going to return to the meeting with Tsunade. As they walked back through the door, Hiashi noticed that Jito was smiling at the four of them. As they came into the conference room, they heard arguing from all over the chamber. Does he think he can just spit in our faces after we offered him immunity? We let him have that failure of a Hyuga and he's still not satisfied. I say we send in some ninja hunters and bring both their sorry carcasses back to the village. As one of the clan leaders screamed at the top of his lungs after hearing Naruto's and Hinata's letter. And show that we're nothing but bullies if we invade the land of spring just to get back to ninjas. They will think that we're weak and that Naruto is the secret weapon behind the village's power. We also have another letter from Koyuki saying that Naruto and Hinata had agreed that upon his death, the nine-tailed spirit will be returned to the land of fire. If Naruto dies at the hand of an enemy and the spirit is released, her country would capture the beast and return it to the Konoha. She also states that her country will be an ally to the fire country and that peace will be achieved by both nations if we abide by this agreement she sent with the messenger, as Tsunade spread out the formal papers for peace. She actually thinks that we will agree to these terms. Even if we agree, think how it would look letting our ninjas switch allegiance at the drop of a hat. I say we officially put Naruto and Hinata in the bingo book that they be killed on sight. Screamed Hamura. Tsunade took a deep breath and looked at everyone in the conference room. To stop the other nations from thinking us weak, we will let Naruto stay in the land of spring. We will look like the more powerful nation if we let him go. We will unofficially put him in the bingo book to be killed on sight. Naruto has many enemies and if he is killed they can't blame the Konoha for his death, as every word came out of Tsunade's mouth seemed to cut deep into her heart. As the elders and clan heads thought about it, it seemed the only choice that would make the Konoha not look weak in the eyes of the other nations. As it became official, only the Jonin of the village would know about the order to kill Naruto on sight. The villagers would be told that Naruto and Hinata were banished because they failed to follow the order of the Hokage that could have led to complications with the land of stone. That would be the cover story, but now Naruto and Hinata were marked for death in the fire country on an unofficial record. As all the clans had left the Hokage council room, Hamura and Kimura waited till Hiashi and Hanabi left the room to talk to the main branch Hyuga clan. You know, if she has more children and they inherit her bloodline, then they will be the first Hyugas to populate a foreign land. This must not be allowed, as Hamura looked at all three main branch members. We know, but Hiashi isn't going to just stand idly by and let us kill his firstborn. He's already making attempts to have her returned to the Konoha by special Jonins. But we on the other hand are making our own plans since Hiashi isn't acting like a clan head is supposed to. Hinata is 3 months pregnant. When she finally delivers her child, we plan on kidnapping the newborn and bringing the child back to the Konoha. Then Naruto and Hinata will have no choice but to come back. We will kill Naruto and then we will seal that 2-bit traitor of a wife of his with the cage bird seal. Since the baby will be the last Namikaze, he will be trained by us and we will make sure Hinata never in life sees him. We can't send any branch members to do this mission because they were always loyal to Naruto and Hinata. It's best that we send the main branch members because they know what is at stake. We won't inform Hiashi of our plans until we completed our objective. When Hanabi becomes the leader of our clan, we will be able to easily control her and make Hiashi obsolete from this clan's decision making, as one of the elder clan Hyuga looked at Hamura. I'm glad that one of our clans is looking out for this village ever since Tsunade returned her and that demon child have made this village decline over the years. I should have nominated Danzo the moment the third Hokage died, but they didn't want a leader, they wanted someone popular and well known among the nations. The fools basing what is best for the village because of the fame of the legendary Sanins, as Koharu looked at her former teammate and Hyuga members. If you need any assistance, let us know, we will support you any way we can, but right now we must leave, as they bowed to their allies to make the Konoha better. Perfect, they will retrieve the child and we can give Hinata to Jito if he still wants her. Things are finally looking up for us, as Hamura started smiling. We'll meet with Jito and tell him things are going to get better real soon, as Koharu nodded with agreement with her friend. As Koyuki looked forward to showing Naruto and his new family the village that was to house many ninjas that would make up the hidden village, they were greeted by 3 spring shinobi. They quickly introduced themselves as Ineko Tsuji, Jiro Loksu, and Azuro Kinsakawa. As they escorted the princess with her guest, they came to Naruto's house that he purchased up on the highest hill. As they walked inside Hinata, and the children were in awe of the size of the house. Everything was extravagant, the floors were made out of the finest marble, and the walls were decorated with some of the most eye-popping art Hinata had ever laid her eyes on. I took the liberty of furnishing this room, Hinata, I hope you don't mind. As Koyuki smiled at Hinata. Hinata just smiled and nodded with great approval. Oh, by the way, here are the documents you asked for. I'll leave these forms so you can discuss it with your husband, as Koyuki handed her the documents. As Naruto looked at Hinata, he wondered what papers he had to go over with Hinata. As they sat down at the table, Naruto told the children to go and explore and to come back in a little while. As the grown-up sat down, Neko gave Naruto a piece of paper. As he looked over it, he smiled. So your goals are to add 6 more clans to this village. That will give a total of 12, but most of these clans are nomadic or disgraced among the shinobi world. I don't think that they will come here if you ask them, Princess Koyuki, as Naruto looked at all 4 of them. I was hoping you would do the honor of asking them. We already started an academy, but we only have a total of 8 ninjas worthy of the title Jonin right now. If you can get them to come to this hidden village, we will be in great debt to you. It seems that no matter what, you seem to draw people to you and you're a natural leader. The 6 clans here asked for you to personally to become their leader, although we are not big enough country to have the name of Cage. We offer you the head leader of the clans, as Koyuki handed Naruto a headband with their village insignia on it. The wind hidden in the spring, it's kind of catchy, as Hinata put it on her husband's head. Well, it seems that I have my work cut out for me. The first place I'm heading to is the Kiri. I heard of this Yuki clan through someone I met named Haku, who had their Kekai Genkai. They're very nomadic. They were once the top lieutenants of the Cage there. But the villagers wanted to destroy all bloodline clans, and they were the first to get hit with it. The leader name is Vilskuro. I met him with Ureu once, and boy, he was a mean SOB, but his clan is slowly dying. I think I can convert him to our cause. All I ask for is that when I leave the village, I need someone to protect Hinata and the children. If I leave in 2 days, I can be back before the end of the week, as Naruto held on to his wife's hand. Don't worry, my clan are excellent shinobi. They'll watch over your family, as Ineko looked at Hinata. Well, let's build us a hidden village, as Azuro sat up from the table. As Koharu and Homura met outside the village, they saw Jidal with his servant leaning against a tree. So it seems I'm out of one Hyuga fiancé. I'm very disappointed in the 2 of you. Maybe I should bring my business to the Kumagakure. It seems they honor their agreements, as Jidal smiled at the elders of the village. Don't worry, if you still want her, you can have her. We are in the process of taking care of Naruto as we speak. We will honor our agreement to you like promised. Just give us a little time, and things will fall into place, as Koharu bowed at Jidal. You're planning on killing the most powerful ninja in history. Interesting. Well, he did steal my bride-to-be from me, and he betrayed your village as a deserter. Fine, when you kill Naruto, bring me the woman. I'll sign the treaty when I get home, but if you fail me, there will be consequences, as Jidal walked away with his servant. Sire, do you really want that soiled Hyuga woman that badly, asked the servant. Of course not. I would never purposely marry any Konoha woman if it didn't coincide with my plans. The Kumagakure wants an unsealed Hyuga badly. Once I have children by her, I can sell her and the children to help finance the war I'm about to start. Every nation is enjoying peace right now, so they're at their weakest. Once I invade Kurigakure in 4 years, I'll topple their Cage, and their people follow my dream. I already killed that old worn-out Cage Linoki with no problem. Soon I will have united world through my hands. Those old fools are doing me a big favor by getting rid of that Jinchuriki. If he's alive, he can interfere with my plans. They just don't know they have some warriors that will follow him to the end. Generals give the orders for battle, but it's the shinobi that wins the wars. Naruto fought on the front lines in every battle I seen him in. He inspired courage and hope. Now just think if he was a general and he fought on the front line with the grunts. He would win every battle that came his way. His own village is doing me the biggest favor by getting rid of that troublesome Jinchuriki, as he smiled at his servant. I see, master, if he's dead, then there is no one that can stop you, as he walked alongside of him. Still, I would have loved to do battle with a living legend like him, but I need to make sure my goal is achieved and that my heirs inherit this world, as Jidal walked back to his carriage to head home. As Sasuke went to the Kurama clan's property, he knew that he was being followed either by Tsunade's Anbu or the elders' most trusted personal ninjas. As he came to the door, one of the Kurama clansmen motioned for him to come in. As he followed the tall man to the living room, he cautiously took a spot on the couch. As he heard footsteps coming down the stairs, he stood up as he saw Yakumo Kurama running toward him. She quickly ran into his arms and kissed him. My uncle and I were told about Naruto's and Hinata's desertion and that you and Kakashi were sent to return them, but why did they hold you in the holding cell for 3 days? Asked a very curious Yakumo. They wanted to make sure that I did everything I could to bring back the 2. I got into an altercation with them, and as a result I lost 3 fingers, as Sasuke showed her his left hand. Oh no, how could he do something like this to you? You're his best friend. I thought he was honorable. When Kurenai helped me seal my evil demon away inside my genjutsu, he was there and helped me overcome it as Yakumo kissed Sasuke's left hand tenderly. It's alright, I'm not finished as a ninja as of yet. By chance, what did your uncle say about my wedding proposal? Asked a very curious Sasuke. It doesn't matter what he thinks about it, I'm yours now and forever. I have to ask this one questions to put my fears behind me. Are you still messing with that pink-haired apprentice of Tsunade? If you are, then we need to part as of right now. As she looked as she was about to cry. I told you that was just some childhood fangirl. She was always stalking me and I let myself get caught into her trap. I was taken by her, always confessing her undying love for me. I thought it was real, but as I got older I knew we had nothing in common. I love you, Yakumo, as much as you love me. As Sasuke came up quick with a brilliant lie. She quickly kissed him with everything that she had. The reason why I ask you is because I'm pregnant, so it doesn't matter if my uncle accepts your offer to marry me or not, I choose to be your wife. This is a good thing, me being pregnant, right? As she had a worried look in her eyes. Yes, of course it doesn't change anything except I love you more. How far along are you? As Sasuke smiled a devious grin. I just turned 2 months last week. I wanted to tell you, but you were so worried that my uncle wouldn't accept the union between us. My uncle and aunt will want to rush the wedding once they find out I'm pregnant. As Yakumo wrapped her arms around his neck. Sasuke just smiled. He finally got the most powerful genjutsu master in the Fire Country to help him revive his clan. With her bloodline, it was certain that his children would be the most powerful ninjas that lived in the village. All he had to do was to tell her what she wanted to hear and put an "I love you" behind it to seduce the young woman to make his ambition in life come true. He knew without Naruto in the village his clan would rule for generations and be considered the very best in the world thanks to Yakumo trusting nature. For once things were looking brighter for the Uchiha. As Naruto and Hinata sat outside in the night sky, Naruto looked at the papers and back at Hinata. Are you sure this is what you want, Hinata? I like the kids too, but do you think they would want us to adopt them? Naruto, you remember how lonely you were, do wish to leave them to that despair. Tonight let's just look at the night sky and we will ask them tomorrow before you leave. As Hinata sat between his legs and wrapped his arms around her. As they stood there, Akina and Makoto looked at the happy couple. Why are you two looking at the night sky like that? There is so much stuff to do inside the house. As Makoto looked at them curiously. Our friends are probably looking at the night sky as well, it makes us feel closer to them. We're all looking at the sky wishing that we all are safe and surrounded by love. As Hinata looked at Makoto. As Makoto and Akina took a seat next to them, he looked at Hinata and Naruto. I hope that Nikia is safe, she was the only nice woman in the village that helped me and Akina. I hope tonight she's looking at the sky and she's safe. As he continued to stare at the sky and the stars. As all four huddled together, all of them felt something that was missing in their lives: family love. It had been a grueling 6 months for Naruto and Hinata. Naruto traveled far and wide to make new allies and peace treaties with the neighboring countries and villages. Naruto had found many clans that were without a village and country who he asked to return to the land of the spring for purpose in life and for their clan heirs. Many accepted Naruto's kind offer and returned with him and swore an oath to the blonde ninja. This made Princess Koyuki very pleased with Naruto. The hidden village that was built for her country already started getting business for ninja work due to the popularity of Naruto. This increased her country's profit already by 15%. As Naruto took some time off to spend with his wife and his newly adopted children, it wasn't long before Hinata was ready to give birth to their first child. As she was in the hospital, Naruto could tell that she was in tremendous pain. Naruto, you did this to me. I swear that I'm not having any more children. Just breathe, Hinata, and the pain won't seem that bad. As Naruto tried to comfort his wife. Shut up, Naruto. I am breathing when I'm still in a lot of pain. I swear if you ever touch me again I'm going to rip that penis off your body. You want a big family? Well, I suggest you figure out how to have children because there isn't any more coming out of me. As Hinata screamed so loud that the nurse and the doctors started laughing at Naruto's expense. Don't worry, Uzumaki-sama, what she actually saying, believe it or not, is quite tame compared to the other first-time mothers. As the doctor patted Naruto on the back to make sure he didn't feel too bad about what his wife was saying. This is way out of her character. When I first met her she was a shy, blushing, stuttering girl who fainted when she saw me. As Naruto talked to the doctor. Oh, you want to bring that up now of all places? You also thought I was a dark and weird girl, or did you forget that part? You couldn't get a clue that I liked you when I passed out in front of you. How dense could you get? I blushed and you thought that I had the flu or was sick every time I seen you. What person you know stayed sick every time you seen them? Just shut up, Naruto, and why don't you go over in that corner and sit down and don't say anything else until I push out our child. You put me through this pain and have the nerves to talk about me. As Hinata threw a pillow at Naruto and the nurses started laughing again. It wasn't every day that the strongest ninja in the village was defeated by a small pregnant woman with a pillow. I guess this will be our last child, thought Naruto as the pillow hit him directly in the face. Calm down Hinata-sama, this will be over in just a little while, now why don't you hold your husband's hand for support because the baby is on its way as the doctor tried to reason with her. As Naruto came over and held her hand, he never felt such a grip from such a small woman like Hinata. As he held on he actually heard two of his fingers snapped from the pressure, as he soaked up the pain he tried to hide the aching with a false smile. I see the baby's head Hinata. He's halfway out, you're almost done as Naruto didn't know if he was excited to see the baby or to have Hinata go back to her old self. As Hinata made one more push the baby came out screaming at the top of his lungs. The doctor and the nurses came over and washed and dressed the baby and handed him to the happy couple. As Hinata and Naruto looked at their firstborn, they both noticed that his hair was a darker blonde than his father's, but the most unique thing was he had his mother's eyes. Although not the Hyuga's trait of paleness, he had that lavender color of kindness his mother had. As she placed a kiss on top of his head, she leaned over and kissed Naruto and apologized for being so evil toward him. So did you two come up with a name yet? You can't just call him baby as the doctor smiled at the two. Naruto, I want to name him Noriyuki Aiji, that's the name Harumi gave you when we left Carrion Village. Somehow it seems fitting that he should be called that. Harumi said there was a meaning to it, that the name means law and happiness, as Hinata smiled at her little bundle of joy. Noriyuki Aiji. I like it very much, Noriyuki Aiji Uzumaki as Naruto smiled at his little angel in a blue blanket. My little Nori-kun as Hinata brushed his soft hair on his head. As the doctor went to the door he saw two little children sitting in the waiting room pacing back and forth. Are those two children yours out in the waiting room? Do you want me to let them come in and see the new baby, as he smiled at Naruto and Hinata. As they told the doctor to let them come in to see the baby, the two walked up nervously to see their new baby brother. As Makoto pulled down the cover just a bit, he saw the little blonde smiling while he was asleep. Makoto made a promise in his head that he would protect the little tyke from all harm. As Akina looked at the baby she just smiled. This is the child that will carry on his father's mission. He seems so happy now, but he will carry a burden that only he can overcome. He is the future of ninja world that will achieve peace, as Akina touched his small frail hand. Hinata looked at Akina and wondered what she was thinking. She remembered the prophecy that Akina told her 6 months ago and wondered if her new baby would suffer like his father did when he was a youth. She quickly put those bad thoughts out of her mind because she knew that Naruto and her would protect him with their lives. As the family surrounded Hinata and the baby they all felt the joy of the new addition to the family. As the doctor came back and he saw the love they displayed for one another, as he began to speak he looked directly at Naruto. It would be a good idea for you to hire a nanny until your wife recuperates from having a child. This would be really good for you because your wife hormones will definitely make her emotional from extreme anger, sadness and overactive happiness. Trust me, have a nanny until he turns at least 3 months old, as the doctor told the happy couple his advice. Sure, I will if it helps out Hinata in any way, I'll do it, as Naruto kissed his wife on the forehead. Hinata smiled, she finally had her dream and so much more. As we head back to the Konoha village 6 months later, there had been many changes that took place in the village within the last 6 months, with Naruto's and Hinata's friends. Choji and Ino tied the knot and were soon expecting a child. Niji and Tenten were married for over a year and a half and had their first child turn 1 and was now expecting another child within the next couple of weeks. Shikamaru became the liaison to the Suna village. He married Tamari 4 months ago and they also were expecting a child in the next 6 months. Lee decided to give Sakura a chance, so they started dating. To Sakura's surprise, Lee was the complete opposite of Sasuke and she loved it. They married 3 months later. She decided to take Ino lead and ask Lee to marry her, which he eagerly agreed. When she went for a checkup, Tsunade told the newlyweds they were having twins. This made Lee faint from being overjoyed that the woman he desired for so long was bearing his children. Sasuke and Yakumo were expecting their first child in less than a week. Yakumo was so proud to call Sasuke her husband that she blindly believed everything he said and ignored all of her common sense. Her uncle on the other hand didn't trust Sasuke no further than he could throw him. He made sure that his clan kept a close eye on him and his activities. Tsunade officially retired and handed the mantle of the 6 Hokage to Kakashi. He took the title with a heavy heart, wishing it was his student Naruto that could have become the Kage of the Hidden Leaf Village. All wasn't so bad for the one-eyed Jonin. He recently married Anko and both of them were hoping to become parents soon. The Leaf Village had lost many ninja mission accounts due to the fact of Naruto's departure from the village, and now the Land of Stone was not producing a healthy economy in their village, as predicted by the elders. But things in the Leaf Village were starting to look better except from the Hyuga clan. I'm giving you 3 main branch members a mission to kidnap the child of Naruto and Hinata Uzumaki. Our spies believe that she may have had the baby about 6 weeks ago. We know for a fact that Naruto is having a meeting with the Land of Frost about economic trade for the Land of Spring. He will be leaving in 5 days, and then that's when I want you to kidnap the baby. All that gets in your way, kill them. Leave no one behind and burn the house down, destroying all evidence of your arrival in the village. Another thing, Hiashi must have complete deniability of this mission. If you're caught, you know what you must do. As the elder Hyuga known as Hayato looked at his kneeled warriors before him. Lord Hayato, shouldn't we send the branch members for a mission such as this? Asked one of the Hyugas. They can't be trusted with the severity of this mission. Most branch members were loyal to Naruto and Hinata. They knew that both of them were trying to change centuries of tradition based on their personal beliefs. When we take their child, we don't know if it was born with our bloodline or not. But since our blood runs through his veins, his children could inherit our most prized possession of the Leaf Village. This must not be allowed. You have 4 days to complete the mission at hand. Don't disappoint your clan. As Hayato walked away from them. As all 3 Hyugas looked at each other, they all went home to prepare for a journey to the Land of Springs. 8 weeks after Hinata's childbirth. As Hinata was holding Noriyuki, she got scolded by the nanny once again. Uzumaki-sama, we had a talk about this. You can't hold him all day, you'll spoil him. He would want to be held all the time, and you'll make my job that much harder when I watch him. As Junya took the baby away from Hinata. But he needs me, plus I've been feeling a whole lot better since I've been exercising and practicing my Jukin skills. As Hinata reached for her baby once again. You heard, Junya, my beautiful wife, all last night he cried because he wanted someone to hold him. That kept me and Junya-san up. He has to get used to not being held 24/7. Trust me, he's not going to hate us for not holding him all the time. As Naruto smiled at his wife. As Hinata pouted for a hot second, but she reluctantly gave in to Naruto's and the nanny's advice. She quickly went to practice her taijutsu out in the yard to put her motherly instinct of her baby out of her mind. As 4 of Naruto's top most trusted advisors came to his house, they were escorted by one of the caretakers of the house. As Aneko, Yokomastu, Takeuchi and Yushura followed the caretaker, they passed by a window and saw Hinata practicing her taijutsu. As all 3 men stopped dead in their tracks, they couldn't believe how beautiful looking she was. As Aneko, the only female of the group, looked at the old fools slobbering over their leader's wife, they forgot just where they were. As Hinata had her back turned, she lifted her leg directly over her head, slowly making the men almost lose their composure. As she gently touched her hand with her foot, she slowly put her leg down and crouched slowly to the ground, spreading her legs so far apart that Aneko could actually hear the men breathing heavy. As she stood back up, she placed her hands on the ground and did a vertical handstand. As she had her eyes closed, she spread her legs and began to move her legs in an exercising position to show her flexibility of her frame. Wow, she's quite sexy, isn't she? Said a voice. No kidding, I can't believe she just had a baby 7 weeks ago. Hell, she looks better than some women who hadn't any kids, replied Takeuchi as he had a perverted smile on his face. I wonder what Naruto would think if he caught you perving on his wife. What he don't know won't hurt him. As Takeuchi continued to stare. Takeuchi, turn around, said Aneko as she had her eyes covered with her hand. As he turned around, he almost lost his bodily fluid as he saw Naruto looking at him with his arms crossed. Takeuchi wanted to pull out his sword right then and there and fall on it. He quickly apologized to Naruto and begged his forgiveness. Naruto looked as though he wanted to seriously hurt him, but he knew Hinata was breathtaking and men were going to stare at her. As Hinata walked through the door, she greeted everyone with a warm smile. Hello everyone, you come to take my husband to that summit meeting, as she bowed to everyone in the room. Yes, we have. Hinata, what was that form you were doing outside, if you don't mind me asking, said Aneko as she looked at the slim pale-eyed beauty. It's like a form of Tai-Chi and yoga practiced by my clan. We close our eyes and circulate a relaxing chakra through our whole body, making the muscles more firm and loosened. That's why she didn't notice those perverts staring at her, she had her eyes closed. I wondered how she would react if she knew they were staring at her like she was a well-seasoned piece of meat, thought Aneko. As they went into Naruto's private office in his house, Hinata went to check on Akina and Makoto. I can't believe you're going to the Ninja Academy. I can't wait until next year to attend, said a very disappointed Akina. Yeah, I can't believe it either. Soon I'm going to be as strong as dad, as he rubbed his kid sister head. As he looked at her, she had a goofy grin on her face. What? As Makoto looked at Akina. That's the first time you called him dad, that's all. As Akina kept a big grin on her face. Yeah, I guess you're right, I never thought about it until now. Well, I have the last name of Uzumaki now, so I guess I am his son. As Hinata heard them talking, she decided to just let them be brother and sister without any interruptions from her since Makoto was attending the academy next week. As Naruto sat in his office talking to his most trusted advisors, they were preparing what to say when they entered the Land of Frost. Aneko wanted to offer ninja services since their village had been blessed with so many missions of late. This would help the Land of Spring out with many different types of metals the Land of Frost had that could be used for weapons for the Land of Spring. Ishura wanted to negotiate making them an ally like they did for the Suna and Kumo. This would make them untouchable if any other the big 3 countries tried to invade the Land of Spring. As they argued for an hour about everything, Naruto suggested that he would listen to their leader first to see what they wanted instead of telling them what they needed. Everyone agreed that would be better as Naruto's advisors left to get ready for the peace talk. Naruto told them that he would meet them at his office in the council room in the village. As he went to his room he saw Hinata sitting there holding Noriyuki in her arms. Naruto just did a heavy sigh and continued to go pack his things. "I'm sorry Naruto, I just needed to hold him one more time. I'm going to give Nori-kun to Junior right now and I'm going to take little nap since I know he will wake up at 11:30 as Hinata came over with Noriyuki to make Naruto forgive her for keep picking him up all the time. Naruto just smiled and kissed his wife on the lips. "I'll be back before you know it" as Naruto headed downstairs with his bags to go on his trip. As Naruto arrived at his office in the village he saw that his advisors were looking angry. "That SOB cancelled on us. He sent a message saying that we have to reschedule our appointment, plus he sent his list of demands over." As Naruto read them he knew exactly why they were looking angry. They had to do an all-nighter to reevaluate their proposal and budget for him to agree to their terms. Naruto took a deep breath and went into his office with his advisors to please the Land of Frost leader. At least he thought now he could spend more time with Hinata and the children since he didn't need to leave the village. As Hinata woke up from her little nap she noticed that it was just a little past 9 p.m. and the house was quiet. She went downstairs to get a bottle for the baby when she noticed that something was off. She quickly activated her Byakugan and searched the house. As she looked around she saw that Junya was laying on the floor alongside Akina and Makoto in the next room. As she searched some more she found the maid and the caretaker was lying on the floor as well. As she continued to search the house she saw 3 men in the baby nursery room approaching her son. She quickly rushed to protect her son. As she came to Akina and Makoto they were barely breathing, but Makoto was waking up with a large bruise on his face and chest that looked like a palm mark. "Makoto, do as I say, take Akina and run to the neighbor's house and get help," as Hinata ran as she talked to save her baby from the intruders. As she approached the room she saw 3 Hyugas waiting for her. "I was hoping to just take the baby and not kill the clan leader's daughter. I'll make your death quick as possible," as the large Hyuga activated his Byakugan to take out Hinata. As the other 2 looked at the comrade they told him to make it quick. As he attacked Hinata she quickly parried every attack and struck him in his chest, making him cough up blood and dropping him to one knee. She grabbed a kunai off the side of his belt and cut him across the back and then she darted toward the other 2. As the other 2 saw this they quickly jumped from the second floor window as Hinata followed closely behind them as she jumped out the window also. As they all landed on the ground, Hinata noticed that they killed the Chunin that usually patrol their estate as he laid slumped over with a palm print bruise to his face. She assumed they must have killed the other 2 as well. "Quick, burn down the house," said the Hyuga as he held Hinata's child in his arms. As the other Hyuga pulled out a cocktail bomb he lit it and was about to throw it until Hinata with pinpoint accuracy hit the jar with her kunai, making the liquid spill onto him, making him catch on fire. As he screamed in agony from the flame, Hinata rushed to kill the Hyuga holding her child. As she came close she felt a stinging pain on the left side of her body. As she looked down a kunai had pierced her side. As she turned around it was the Hyuga she defeated in the nursery. She turned around and tried to place a Juken strike at his heart. He jumped back and Hinata quickly removed the kunai and waited for him to attack. "They'll hurry and burn down the house, meet me by the boat so we can get the hell out of here," as the Hyuga started to run with the baby. Hinata screamed at the top of her lungs for him to stop, a costly mistake as her attacker struck her with his palm making her body almost go rigid. With her kunai she tried to cut him, but he was able to dodge her every move at close range. Hinata knew that these were the elite Hyuga Jonin of the clan, the one who held her baby was named Zeri. As she fought the large Hyuga in front of her, she could not come up with a strategy to take him down. Then it came to her, with her swiftness she rushed toward him with her kunai. As he pulled out his kunai as well, he aimed it toward her head. At the last possible second she ducked and struck him in the Hyuga blind spot in the back of his head, killing him instantly. As Hinata looked down she saw that he caught part of her collarbone, leaving a deep cut that wouldn't stop bleeding. As she had her Byakugan activated she ran at top speed to stop the kidnapper from leaving the village. As she got close to the harbor, she saw Zeri holding Noriyuki in the air with one hand. "Listen here Hinata, my mission is to take the child back to the Konoha, not to kill you. I looked at the child, he doesn't have the Kekkei Genkai of our clan which makes him expendable. If you want the child to live come back right now with me and you can have your precious little baby back. He is worth you coming back to the village for, isn't he? Just say yes Hinata, the weak and the baby will be safe," as he used the name he came up with when he was younger to insult Hinata to make her feel even worse about herself by taking away her pride. "If I come back, I know my clan will either kill me or slap that cage bird seal on my head or even worse try and sell me as a slave for someone who's looking for an obedient wife. My life is here with Naruto, please let me have my child back. You sicken me, you love that demon with all your heart. I had enough of this, I'm taking the child, but I'm going to kill you and blame it on the Hyugas you killed earlier. You make us main branch look like sniveling weaklings, I don't even know why they would want this bastard of a child." His father is a demon, and his mother is an incompetent Hyuga with no dignity, sleeping around with filth. You ruined the Hyuga name for centuries, as Zeri placed the baby down and attacked Hinata with great ferocity. As Hinata blocked most of his blows, she couldn't block them all because she had lost so much blood earlier during her other fight and some more when she ran to catch up to Zeri. Hinata pulled out her kunai and tried her best to slit his throat. He saw that Hinata was moving like she was in slow motion. He decided to punish her before killing her. He quickly backhanded Hinata in the face so hard it made blood and snot come from her nose. He quickly grabbed her by her throat to choke her completely out. Hinata with all her strength plunged her kunai into his forearm, making him scream in pain. She quickly grabbed his right arm into armbar takedown and with the remainder of her strength broke his arm. As he struggled to get to his feet he felt some blood on the middle of his back. Hinata had stabbed him in the back with her kunai when they were on the ground when she broke his arm. Zeri could feel himself getting weak as he removed the kunai from his back. As he held the kunai in the arm that he was stabbed in, he once again charged Hinata, this time connecting to the other side of her body with the kunai. As he held Hinata up with the kunai he removed it and caught her by her neck once again. He threw the kunai down and listened for her last breath. As he heard nothing but a faint breathing he smiled as he continued to hold her up by her neck. As he loosened his grip on Hinata, she quickly kicked him in his groin and quickly bit into his cheeks, with the last bit of her energy tearing away a large piece of flesh from his face. As he screamed in agony, his face felt as though it was on fire from Hinata's vicious bite. As she crawled toward her son, she could hear him crying his heart out. As she crawled on her knees to reach her baby, she pulled him close to her heart to stop him from crying. Zeri staggered toward Hinata as he picked the kunai back up to finish her off. As he approached her to finish his mission, two spring ninjas with swords pierced both his legs. They quickly tackled him and tied him up before he could finish killing Hinata. Holy shit, those two little kids were right. This is Hinata-sama and her baby. Quickly go alert Naruto-sama and tell him what happened. On the way send more ninjas just in case there are more out here and make sure you send for a medical ninja. I don't think she's going to make it, as the young Chunin went to help Hinata from losing so much blood. As the genin ran to get help and to see the leader of the village about his wife, he couldn't get that awful side out of his mind of Hinata literally being shredded to death by a kunai. As Naruto and his advisors were still going over the budget, four ninjas busted through the door and looked right at Naruto. Uzumaki-sama, your wife was attacked by leaf ninjas. I don't think she's going to make it. Everyone in the house was killed except Akina and Makoto. We removed the bodies so the children won't see them. The little girl suffered 3 broke ribs and the boy suffered a dislocated shoulder from their technique. We have the culprit tied up at your house. We didn't want to come through the rural roads just in case there were more out there, so we just held position at your house until we know things are safe. As the genin kneeled before Naruto. Naruto hearing this left the building and within a flash he was at his house. As he opened the door he saw 4 medics working on his wife. As he was about to approach Hinata he was stopped by one of the Chunins. They said this is a delicate operation they're doing and they must not be disturbed. As the Chunin bowed his head to Naruto. Naruto quickly ran over to the tied up Hyuga. As he pulled the Hyuga's hair back he saw he didn't have the seal mark placed on his head. Naruto with all his strength punched him in his face. As the tied-up Hyuga screamed in pain because of the bite mark on his face added with the punch he took from a pissed-off husband, he stared at Naruto. He's a main branch member of the Hyuga clan. Alright, who sent you? Was it Hiashi? As Naruto placed his finger into the bite wound on his face. As he hollered in pain, he refused to answer the question. Naruto quickly performed his Rasengan and held it up to him. You refuse to talk, right? As Naruto looked at him. I only have to say this, I hope your bitch dies. One less miserable failure in the world and I hope you're next one, demon, as he spat in Naruto's face. No, I won't kill you, I have something special planned for you. As Naruto wiped away the spit from his face. Naruto quickly made a long series of hand signs and pressed his hands on the temples of the tied-up Hyuga. As he hollered in pain, he noticed that he couldn't see in color. Everything was black and white. He quickly tried to activate his Byakugan, but he went completely blind and he could feel blood running out of his nose. What the hell did you do to me? I'm blind, fix what you've done, demon, as he rocked back and forth in the chair. What I've done is put a seal on your forehead. If you want to see again, deactivate your Byakugan. This seal right here can't be removed, only I can do it. If someone tries to mess with it you die. You try an eye transplant you die. Within 2 years you will become completely blind, you will next lose your hearing as well. You will live in a world without sound and sight, a suitable punishment. But if my wife dies I will slap another seal on you that will make you lose your mind, as well. As Naruto pulled him up by his collar. Naruto, we will make him talk. We will find out before the end of the night why the leaf sent them to our land. As Yushiro walked in with the rest of his advisors. That's okay, I know who done this, men, make sure he doesn't die because he's about to show the 5 nations the treachery of the leaf. As Aneko went into the other room she saw Hinata lying on the floor surrounded by medical ninjas. They didn't want to move her, they said she might die if they tried to take her to the hospital, if they couldn't stabilize her here first, as Naruto looked at his number one advisor. She's tough, she'll pull through as Aneko hugged Naruto. Your wife wants to speak with you Uzumaki-sama, we did all we could, the rest is up to her. To be honest Uzumaki-sama, I'm not so sure she will make it, but it doesn't mean she'll die either, as the medical ninja took Naruto to his wife. As Naruto looked at his wife, she looked extremely pale and weak, she had bruising all over her body and face. As she motioned for Naruto to come closer, she whispered something in his ear that he could barely hear. I can't do that Hinata, or rather I won't, as Naruto kissed her forehead and left the room. Naruto, it looks as if you're about to do some bad things, I would advise against it, as Aneko blocked the door to the outside. Don't worry, I'm in control, as he removed Aneko from his path. What did Hinata say to you Naruto? That's private, but she wasn't the target or me, as Naruto kept walking. You mean the baby? As Aneko looked shocked at that revelation. As he got outside he bit his finger and went through the proper hand sign to summon Gamabunta. As Gamabunta appeared he told him to take him to Mount Mamboku. As Gamabunta did as he was told, he could tell Naruto was not the same man when he last talked to him. As they arrived Gamabunta asked Naruto why he wanted to come here. Can you do a reverse summon and get me close to the Konoha? Asked Naruto. Sure, but why? And why were you in the land of spring? Naruto, are you in trouble? Asked Gamabunta. We'll talk later, but for now can you get me to the Konoha? Sure, but I'm holding you to that talk later, as Gamabunta told Naruto to jump on his back and they both puffed away. As Naruto made it to the outside of the Konoha he told Gamabunta he would need his services later to get him back to Mount Mamboku. As Naruto came to the outer part of the village wall, he knew how to get in the village undetected and he had one thing on his mind: kill Hiashi Hyuga. As Naruto made it inside of the village with great stealth, he only had one goal: to kill Hiashi Hyuga. Naruto knew that the main branch only followed Hiashi orders. He knew that Hiashi was a cruel man, but he never thought he would stoop so low to kill his own flesh and blood. Naruto at the time thought that Hinata and her father was starting to get along better, but after she went to save Naruto from pain, the Hyuga elders and her father felt disgraced, not for her losing, but for her going to help Naruto the nine-tail container. Naruto was angry at Hiashi for not standing up for his daughter. She did what a true friend would do, save a life. He was never mean about it, but he always stressed that Hiashi needed to show her respect and no matter what he should love his daughter eternally. Hinata didn't want Naruto and her father fighting, so she told Naruto how she felt about her father. I love my father and I know deep down he loves me too. All parents love their children, even when they think they don't measure up to their standards. He may be cruel, but I won't hate him or wish anything bad on him, was Hinata only reply to Naruto's anger toward Hiashi. Naruto was shocked since he never knew of a parent's love, but he trusted Hinata's judgment. He knew Hinata wasn't like her clan members at all because she lacked that cruel and conceited attitude the Hyugas possesses. When Naruto and Hinata began to date, Naruto's reputation through the village was said to be on the level of that of the fourth Hokage. The Hyugas at first didn't mind. The failure from a prestigious clan got the attention of a future Hokage and a war hero, which made them feel even more superior. If a miserable failure could get someone like him, then a prodigy of the clan could have any mate they wanted. As Naruto waited by an empty field area, he concentrated all of his chakra until his eyes revealed that of the Toad Sage's power. He quickly searched for Hiashi's chakra signature. As he found out where Hiashi was at, he darted out to dish out a divine retribution punishment that Hiashi completely deserves. As Naruto came to an opening, he saw Hiashi walking with two clan members. Naruto quickly activated his sage's body cloak and dashed forward and extended his chakra, where it grabbed the two Hyuga's bodyguards and slung them both against a tree, knocking them completely out. Naruto quickly punched Hiashi in the middle of his stomach, causing him to lose his wind. Naruto, what the hell are you doing here and attacking me and my guards? As Hiashi yelled at the top of his lungs. Like you don't know, I came here to put you 6 feet deep in the dirt. It's time that you pay in blood for what you've done to Hinata. It's just you and me now. My love for my wife against your hatred for us. Let's see which is stronger. As Naruto walked up to Hiashi to take him out. What the hell are you talking about? You want me dead for what reason? Because of that wife of yours? As Hiashi got in his Jukin stance. Enough talk, time to pay for your sins against Hinata. As Naruto rushed Hiashi with such speed, Hiashi could only use his rotation to get Naruto away from him. As Naruto saw Hiashi perform his rotation, he quickly jumped back to avoid the gust of wind. He waited till Hiashi stopped spinning and attacked by using Taijutsu. As the two combatants faced off, Hiashi used every bit of his Taijutsu arsenal to take down the blonde powerhouse. He heard many stories about Naruto's skills, but he always thought it was mere exaggeration than fact. Now he knew for sure the stories were all true and that he was in the fight of his life. Do you think that I will roll over for you, boy? My Jukin skills are dominant in Taijutsu, you don't stand a chance. As Hiashi countered every blow Naruto threw at him. Naruto quickly punched Hiashi in the face and staggered the older Hyuga, making him jump back to get his strategy together. He quickly formed the 8-trigram empty palm and tried to back off his opponent from doing more damage to his body. As the rush of chakra and wind came rushing toward Naruto, he stood there as the force of the wind crashed on the side of him, causing damages to the trees to the left and right of him. Hiashi stood there stunned, wondering how his jutsu missed him completely. That type of jutsu will never work on me. I trained myself endlessly to manipulate my wind affinity, and I also know how to alter my opponent's wind affinity also. Face it, Hiashi, you're way out of your league with me, anything you can come up with I can counter. As Naruto walked slowly up to his pale-eyed prey. Boy, you haven't seen anything yet, do you really think that the Hyuga gentle fist is weak? The Juken style has no weakness. As Hiashi got back into his stance. There are 3 and I'm willing to show you personally, and that these moves will send you to the afterlife. As Naruto prepared once more to attack. As Hiashi rushed Naruto, he aimed a chakra-filled palm toward Naruto's chest. Naruto quickly sidestepped and caught Hiashi's wrist. Naruto quickly turned around and delivered a devastating blow with his elbow toward Hiashi's jaw as Hiashi's head flew backwards from the blow. Naruto held onto Hiashi's wrist and grabbed all of Hiashi's fingers and snapped them where they were touching the backside of Hiashi's hand. Hiashi screamed in excruciating pain, he actually thought his fingers were torn off by his son-in-law. Lesson 1. The gentle style can be broken if the combatant's fingers can't hold chakra, as Naruto punched Hiashi in the chest and sent him flying back several feet. As Hiashi looked at Naruto, he noticed that Naruto's eyes held hatred for him that was equal to his bloodlust for vengeance. Hiashi didn't know why Naruto wanted his head all of a sudden, but he wasn't going to give up without a fight. He quickly gathered his thoughts and prepared to attack again. He quickly rushed Naruto with another Juken strike. Naruto moved and looped his arm around Hiashi's and threw Hiashi over his shoulder, sending him crashing down onto ground, breaking 3 ribs. Lesson 2. The Hyuga technique is vulnerable to throw moves and wrestling moves. See, you Hyugas concentrate so much on striking someone's chakra system that you don't know how to counter the basic throw moves. It seems that you and the other Hyugas' egos made you forget that. As Naruto looked down at Hiashi. Hiashi couldn't believe what was happening to him. This young ninja of 22 was systematically taking him apart no matter what he did. He realized just a little too late that the rumors of this young blonde ninjas was no exaggeration whatsoever. He knew if the battle lasted even 20 seconds longer then his life would come to an end at his own son-in-law's hand. He quickly pulled out a kunai and looked at Naruto. He noticed that Naruto started smiling at the outcome of his action. Damn it, what are you playing at, Uzumaki? What could possibly make you want my head on a platter so bad? He refuses to talk, except when he's pointing out the Hyuga weaknesses. Does he want to start a war between the Land of the Spring and the Leaf Village? As Hiashi twirled his kunai around his good hand and prepared to stop Naruto's murderous attacks. As he rushed the blonde ninja, Naruto quickly made a one-hand ninjutsu sign and a gust of wind hit Hiashi head-on. The wind tore through Hiashi's clothes and muscles like 1,000 razors, leaving him in a bloody mess and making him drop to the ground. As Hiashi looked down, he noticed that his body was scarred with tiny cut marks that continued to bleed all over his body. As he looked up, he saw a smiling Naruto standing over him with his arms crossed. Lesson number 3. Hyugas are weak against certain types of elemental affinities, such as wind and fire. I hope my enlightening lesson of Hyuga Juken inferiority made you just a bit wiser, old man. You see, I trained with your daughter, and I picked up a few things about your techniques, so I trained Hinata so she wouldn't have those flaws your clan has. Just ask the assassins you sent to harm my family. Oh wait, Hinata killed 2 of them, and the other one is alive and our prisoner in the Land of Spring. So I guess your killers couldn't do what you ordered. It's time, Hiashi, to pay the piper. As Naruto stood over his beaten combatant. As Naruto looked at Hiashi, his anger began to rise as he had visions of Hinata lay dying because of his father-in-law actions. He reached down and picked the elderly Hyuga up by his neck and began squeezing his throat ever so tightly. She was precious to me, Hiashi, and you tried to take her away from me just because she loved the demon of the Leaf Village. Everyone thought she was weak, but she was as strong as they came. Her gentle touch of kindness could shatter mountains, her voice could tame the most wild and dangerous beast that ever walked the planet. She looked for peace rather than war. She protected me numerous amounts of times with no regards to her own safety. She was and always will be my soulmate in this world or in the next. Her love is so strong she asked me not to harm you, as long as our child was safe. She said she could die knowing that. Why, Hiashi, did she want me to let you live? I refused her and she had a look of sorrow in her eyes. Why are you so precious to her when you did everything in your power to make her life a living hell? Why? Answer me, Hiashi. As Naruto threw a series of punches to Hiashi's face. Someone tried to kill Hinata. Can't take much more, barely can say a word or stay conscious as Hiashi was blacking in and out from Naruto's steady punching to his head. As Hiashi finally hit the ground again, he remembered something his wife said when she was on her deathbed. I have to leave you now, but promise me you will look after Hinata. She has unlimited love for you and anyone she meets. Her kindness will make even the most evil man smile at her warmth and tenderness. Anyone our daughter loves, I know he will protect her from all harm. I believe our daughter's destiny will make our village even stronger. Trust our daughter's heart, Hiashi. It will lead us out of dark times of hopelessness into the light of happiness. Show Hinata your love so she will not feel sad that her mother has left this world. Promise me you will treat her like the precious child she is. Tell Hanabi that I'm sorry and that I wish I could see her get older. Tell them to make a good life filled with happy stories so they can tell me everything when we meet on the other side. I'll hold you to this promise, my dear husband. Any man that love our daughters unconditionally honor them, cherish them because they will definitely make our clan stronger. As she lifted her head up and kissed her husband goodbye. I promise I'll keep her happy and safe. This is a promise of a lifetime. As he kissed his wife a final farewell. Get up, Hiashi. You're not that weak. You always berated Hinata, but it seems you're the weak link of the Hyuga clan. Now last chance to get up and die as a warrior, or I'll put this Rasengan in the back of your head, killing you like some stray dog, rather than some noble combatant. As Naruto's Rasengan hummed with anticipation to kill Hiashi on the spot. Hinata can't get up. Forgive me, Hinata, I broke all my promises to your mother. As Hiashi was incoherent from Naruto's threat due to his past vision of his wife last moment alive. Now you call for your daughter when you're on death's door. Die, you malicious bastard. As Naruto was about to hammer his Rasengan into the back of Hiashi's skull. As Naruto was grabbed by the two Inyazuka Jonin who tackled him to the ground, knocking the wind out of him and expelling his Rasengan. Naruto quickly grabbed the shorter Inyazuka as they tumbled and quickly got to his feet and threw her to the older dog warrior woman, knocking her completely off balance. Naruto swiftly came and punched her in the face and then to her solar plexus, knocking the wind out of her. The younger Inyazuka recovered from the throw and charged Naruto. Naruto grabbed her by her arm and slung her to the ground full force as she wailed in pain from the slam. The older Inyazuka used her speed and backed Naruto away with her kunai. As she pulled up the younger dog Jonin, they both stared at the blonde in front of them. Naruto, what the hell are you doing? Are you trying to start a war? If you kill Hiashi, the Fire Country will want your head on a platter. Why after all this time you came back to the village to start trouble now? As Tsume, the Inyazuka clan leader, looked at Naruto. Hiashi owes me blood and his life. If you stand in my way, I'm going to kill you, Tsume, and your daughter as well. Let the Fire Country come for me. I won't run anymore. Hiashi dies tonight, and so will you if stand in my way of justice. As Naruto walked toward the duo. Justice? For what? What could have Hiashi done that warrants his death? Screamed Hana. He tried to have his own daughter killed, the mother of my child, my wife. She lay dying as we speak. It's time for retribution, and the penalty is death. As Naruto stopped and looked at the two Jonins. The two looked in horror. They knew that Hiashi could be cruel at times, but he would never stoop to have Hinata marked for death by his hands. They knew it had to be more to it, but they knew they couldn't defeat Naruto together. They needed more shinobis. They decided to try and stall for time for a much needed assistance. It sounds like to me it's revenge. He kills her, you kill him, an eye for an eye. But it's murder because you don't have proof. Screamed Tsume. In my village I have 2 dead unsealed Hyugas and one that's still alive until I deemed he's no longer necessary. You see, revenge, vengeance and justice is all the same thing, just different words but the same meaning. When someone's life is taken, you want that person punished for leaving a hole in your heart. Don't all 3 words describe punishment for a wicked person for the injustice they are trying to get away with? Now I know you're stalling for time so someone can come and help you, but the time has come, move or die. As Naruto walked toward them, he looked up and saw 2 twisters coming straight toward him. He immediately recognized the technique fang over fang. As both twister headed toward Naruto, he just stood there waiting for the impact. As the 2 cyclones struck Naruto, the jutsu was broken, as both Tsume and Hana looked stunned at the outcome. Naruto held Tsume K9 assistant Kuramaru in one hand by the throat and Hana's dog in the other hand by neck. He quickly threw Kuramaru into a tree and slammed Hana's K9 helper to the ground with a choke slam. Never in their ninja careers have they ever witnessed any ninja alive stopping their K9's attack with the rising of an enemy's hand. Very smart, Naruto. You knew that technique would cause unwanted attention, especially since it's such a loud attack. So you neutralized it by taking out our dogs. As Tsume looked impressed by his cleverness and his ability. Hana looked at Naruto and dashed straight toward him at a blinding speed. She quickly threw a punch toward Naruto's head. As she swung her fist at him, it looked as if Naruto just vanished right in front of her eyes. You're fast, but to me it looks like you're moving in slow motion. Now you left your mother unguarded and yourself open for an attack as Naruto was directly behind her. As Hana tried to turn around, Naruto ducked down and struck her kneecap with a chakra-filled fist, sending her down in pain. As Naruto used his speed, he pulled out his kunai and aimed it straight at Tsume's throat. The blade was about to end Tsume's life when Hiashi caught his kunai with his good hand at the last possible moment. Enough, Naruto. You want me dead, not Tsume and Hana. I know you have contempt for me, but I didn't order anyone to kill my daughter. I love Hinata with all my heart, but I'm the head of this clan, and I have to make difficult decisions every day about how the clan should move forward. I know that it seems cruel that I have to use my children as property and chess pieces, but if my clan dies out it will be my fault. The one thing I refuse to do is sacrifice my children lives for the clan. I do everything in my power to keep them safe, but I refuse to murder them because of any ruler Hyuga custom, as Hiashi staggered to keep from passing out from his injuries as he continued to hold onto Naruto's wrist. Naruto looked at Hiashi's hand as he held onto his wrist. Naruto felt every emotion in Hiashi's body and soul. He felt anger, sadness, but most of all shame. Naruto dove deeper into Hiashi's emotions, but he couldn't find a murderous intention for Hinata. Naruto wanted revenge. He wanted Hiashi to pay for leaving Hinata sad, troubled and scared, but he really wanted to punish Hiashi for taking away his love from Hinata. I want to kill him. I want to see him suffer like no one ever suffered in life. I want this pain to stop in my heart. If I kill him, I will be killing him for the wrong reasons. Sure, he caused Hinata so much pain in life, but she forgave him, but I can't. If I kill him, my village and everyone that's innocent will be pushed into a war because of my anger toward him. I can't make them suffer because I'm suffering. Damn it, I want justice. As Naruto for the first time since he became an adult looked uncertain on what to do. He decided to listen to Hinata's words she told him when she lay hurt on the bed. Flashback at the Uzumaki estate. Naruto, my father didn't do this, I can feel it in my soul. Don't kill my father, I know you're hurting right now, but you must trust me. He loves me, the love between parent and child can never be severed. Promise me you won't go after my father. I know it looks bad, but I need you to promise me this, as Hinata's words were below whisper. I can't, or rather I won't, as Naruto walked away. This scene played through Naruto's mind over and over. I'm leaving. When I find out who ordered to have my child abducted and my wife killed, I'm going to kill them all. And if the whole Hyuga clan made a decision to go behind your back to harm my family, the Uchiha massacre will seem like a debutante ball compared to the hell I will unleash on them. It will be the things that nightmares are made of. Wait, Naruto, what did Hinata have? As Hiashi staggered to Naruto. We had a little boy, as Naruto's body cloaked into the sage's body and disappeared in a yellow flash. As Tsume looked at Hiashi, she noticed that he was smiling like when they were children, a smile that she thought she would never see again in life. Come on Hiashi Baka, let's get you to the hospital and then to Kakashi. He's going to want to hear all about this, as Tsume put his arms around her shoulder. You know I hate that name. Anyways, have your daughter go and get Tsunade and tell her to meet me in the Hokage office. Forget the hospital, this is too important. If what Naruto says is true, this could spell trouble for the village, as Hiashi looked almost dead from being pummeled by Naruto. As Hana was about to leave, she saw Kiba and Shino coming toward them. The two saw the area damaged beyond belief, and Hiashi looking like he could die at any minute. What the hell happened here? As Kiba looked at his mother. Shut up and go get Kakashi, tell him it's an emergency, as Tsume continued to hold up Hiashi. One thing Kiba knew was to not argue with his mother. He quickly departed and headed straight to the 6 Hokage home. So Grandpa, want to tell me if this is true or not about someone sent to kill Hinata, as Tsume carried him toward the village council hall. I didn't have anything to do with it, but I have a clue who might have, but I'll explain everything when we are at the Hokage office, as every step Hiashi made seemed to put him in pain. He smirked at being called a grandpa by his oldest and dearest friend. As Shino looked at Hiashi's bodyguards, he saw chakra burns in their chest. He knew that it was Naruto when he used his sage's body that caused that type of cellular damage. The only thing he couldn't come up with is why would Naruto come back to the village and attack Hiashi. As he helped up the wounded Hyugas, he stared at Hiashi and wondered, did he do something to Hinata or Naruto to make him come back? He figured he would find out when he go to see Kakashi at the Hokage office tonight.